careful.
See,
Like,
now that I think to remind you, you don't need me to remind you.
I have been on the ball for like 2 weeks straight. I don't know what's happening to me. It's very scary. And I'm not just talking about for this. I mean, like everything, like Dragon Ball Z League, Mass Effect. Like, I have not messed up once in 14 days, and I'm really starting to wonder if I have been kidnapped and replaced with something more competent.
Yes.
Damn it! I knew it.
The answer is always yes.
I knew it.
Just straight up.
Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Curse of the Crimson Throne. It has been 1 week. One glorious week. Unfortunately, due to people going places, we're not able to have our session at its normal time, which would be next Tuesday. So we are doing it this Tuesday instead, and then we are going to be skipping 3 weeks, I think. So, hang on. So, today is the 3rd. Our next session will be the 24th. Which is sad, but at least, hey, at least we're not technically missing a session. So, hey, we're here sooner. Hi, everyone. Welcome back, my lovely, lovely players.
Hello.
And when last we left, you guys had braved the deep, well, the 80-foot deep Jaeger River, and explored what many rumored to be a plague ship and a possible source for the Blood Veil that had sunk to the bottom of the Jaeger River. You, through the help of the quartermaster at the Citadel of Corvosa, the Timronian, of course, and a interesting fisherman by the name of Bluno, you got what you needed to be able to survive underwater, to explore the depths of the broken ship, finding not a whole lot, actually. Some eels, a shark, and a water hag that had taken up residence in the boat, and not much else. No plague bodies, no indications of rotted or diseased rags or cargo. The only thing that you did find, other than the water hag, which, by the way, I should note, at least Bluno never mentioned that as normal things you face in the river, was a dead body of a drowned man, who, from what Murray could deduce, probably hit his head on a footlocker and knocked himself out while the ship was sinking, which is, well, it's not good when a ship's sinking to be unconscious. It's just not good for you. He doesn't show any signs of disease, and the footlocker is still sealed from the elements, meaning that no water apparently had gotten in it. And you guys had taken the sea hag that you had captured, and the body, and the footlocker, starting to take it back up to the surface when the sea hag broke free and went to attack Rhea. And Rhea unfortunately tried to cast the spell Calm Emotions, didn't work, and Shala very quickly dispatched the sea hag. And then you guys got back to the surface, got back to Bluno, and Bluno had, as we ended the session, rowed you guys over to the shores where Citadel Volshnik is. And that is where we stopped for the day.
And more importantly, had been invited to dinner.
Indeed. He had been invited to dinner and had accepted, given that, well, his dear wife had passed away, I think, 10 years ago. So, unfortunately, I guess in that entire time, he's never learned to cook. Don't know how that happens, but
that explains why he's missing his teeth.
Maybe if he, like, I was like, it's like my wife died 10 years ago. I get it, that's sad, but dude, learn mac and cheese. It's not that hard. But he did accept, and we will start off pretty much right where we left off last week, where he will pull the boat into a dock very close to Citadel Volshnik, about as close as he can get, you know, without guards asking questions. So basically, if you're looking at the map right here, this dock, and he'll pull up to you and he'll be like, "Hi, Citadel Volshnik is just. Anything else I can do for you?
Not at this time?
Aye, shut up. Darn dogs in the alleyways always making noises. Sorry, I'm not making fun of real dogs. Just trying to storytell. No, Bruno would say, he'd go, well, aye, as I said, anytime you ever need another trip down the Jaeger River, just look for good old Bruno.
Dinner is at 7.
Aye. I'll be sure to be there. And with that, he'll start rowing the boat off, whistling to himself, which is very strange because there's no teeth. And he just starts, he's whistling what seems to be like a jaunty fishing tune. And you guys are left standing on the dock carrying a bloated, dead, drowned body and a footlocker.
Awesome. Well, I'm not going to stand in the middle of the street with a dead body, so we are going to go to the Citadel forthwith.
A fair thing to do. So you guys walk up to the gate and you see you have been there enough times at differing hours that I think you're almost on first name basis with most of the guards that guard the gate. It's actually so it's clear by now that there are 2 sets of 3 rotations, meaning that the guards at the gate seem to be there for 8-hour shifts, and there is like a few days you'll see 3 sets of guards, and then in the next few days you'll see 3 other sets of guards, and it seems to be those same 12 people. So this is probably a responsibility assigned to people long term. So as you approach, it is, I believe it's nighttime now. I believe you guys went out there in the dusk or gathering darkness. By the way, also, I'm curious, how's the party looking right now? How much, I know that Faust and I know that Rhea were messed up pretty badly. Have you mostly been healed from that?
Yeah, I cast,
right?
I cast heal, per healing on the boat, and I should have gotten everybody else back up to full.
Oh, that's right, and it even cured or mitigated Bruno's arthritis.
Right, because I was asking if he would grow teeth back.
All right.
We're mainly missing spell slots, but we're fine otherwise.
Got it. The reason I ask is that because most of the damage you took was taken and healed underwater, you're not covered in blood, which is a good thing. Approaching, Volshenik, Citadel Volshenik covered in blood, carrying a body, not the best. That's the best sight. So right now you guys look waterlogged, very soggy. Probably Arlen has like some seaweed clinging to her boot. And as you approach, one of the guards would be like, and about this time, it's probably early evening, because honestly your adventure in the boat took less than an hour. So it's probably, say, 8 or 9 at night. And one of the guards would see you approaching and go, "Hoi, did you take a jump in the Jaeger River before you come over here?"
Yes.
Oh, I was joking. I'm sorry. Are you okay?
I'd be better if I weren't damp.
I sympathize. He kind of like looks at his partner, like not sure exactly how to answer that, and he goes, "Well, you here to see the field marshal?"
Yes.
Well, right. Well, we've been given orders that you're pretty much allowed passage through. And he like trails off as he sees who's carrying the body.
I volunteer.
Probably, I think it was me, because I said I would.
I do believe that's the case. Yeah.
Weary, that's fine.
His voice trails off as he notices what you're carrying. He goes, everything okay, miss?
She is. So she took her poncho off to jump in the ocean.
Right.
And she would have wrapped it around him, around the dead dude, like a funeral shroud.
Right. So he can't see who it is.
She's not just like princess carrying a dead guy around. He is covered.
Right, I imagine, and he wouldn't be able to tell man, woman, much of that, but human bodies are fairly unique shapes, and it's clear that you're carrying someone, maybe not someone dead or anything, but he finally notices, and that's part of his delayed reaction, was that he was talking to you and not worried too much about what you were carrying, but his voice trails off and he goes, "Is everything okay, miss?"
I suppose that remains to be seen, but we are well.
Right. On second thought, do you mind waiting out here for just a moment while I go find the field marshal? Might be, well,
Take
look,
your time.
He kind of nods and he tells one of the other guard to whisper something to him, and then he rushes off, and then he looks back at the group apologetically and goes, "Sorry, I don't have any intention of prying into what's going on here, but if that's even close to what I think it is, maybe walking through Citadel Volshnek with it, well, I'd just rather warn the field marshal first, if that's okay."
A wise decision.
They don't need medical attention, I take it?
I'm afraid it's far too late for that.
Ah. Thought so. Are you, like... And he, like, hesitates. I mean, I know that you're always coming in and out and, you're, like, friends with the field marshal, but are you, like, mercenaries?
Mercenaries implies that we've been hired.
Right. Because people normally carry around dead bodies and don't get paid for it.
I don't kill.
I am so sorry. I have overstepped my bounds. My apologies. From what I've heard, you've done good works for the city. And he kind of stands at greater attention and he goes, well, just wait a moment. I'm sure that everything will be right as rain.
Of course, at ease.
And he seems to visibly relax as he gets the look of maybe he said something he shouldn't. And it takes a good 2 or 3 minutes for the guard to get back, so if there's anything you guys would want to do during that time, let me know.
I don't know, we're just like chilling on their doorsteps, sopping wet.
Yep.
So.
Carrying a body.
Faust will leisurely add to it and say, technically we didn't kill him, so we should be fine. I don't see any issues here.
Out of curiosity, why did you add technically? We didn't kill him, that's a statement by itself.
No, that's true, that's true. Probably doesn't look like that to them, though. We're all wet, and we came back with a dead body.
As I said, I have no judgments here. What you do for the field marshal is none of my business. And after, like I said, after a few minutes of you guys just kind of standing there awkwardly,
When we're carrying a dead body, we'll ask him if he has family.
Yes, friend. Yes, miss. A wife and 2 little ones. One of them, well, the city is, well, we're all hit pretty hard with this Bloodville, so, hoping we find a solution quickly.
Of course. Do you require aid?
Oh, no. I was, well, I say I. The missus was smart enough to keep a nest egg for a rainy day, she said, and we were able to pay for healing, but I've told them to stay at home as much as possible, and, well, quite frankly, until this is resolved, I'm probably not going to go back and see them, given how many people I come into contact with on a daily basis. I just don't think it's safe. If something happens to me, that's fine, but...
If you require aid that does not require payment...
That is very kind. Thank you. And, with that, the other guard will come up and will say, Field Marshal is in her office awaiting your indulgence. And she has asked, and he kind of motions and two other Crimson Guard come up. They're here to help you with your burden. And the two guards come up and nod to you and start to reach for the body to take from you.
We will hand it over without argument and send them.
Okay. And basically they just kind of follow the group, carrying the body between them as you guys make your way through the Citadel into Chrysitia's chamber, where you see her going over notes. She looks up, sees you all sopping wet, sees the body coming after you, and she just kind of like closes her eyes and pinches her nose, and she goes, "When I asked you to look into it, I was thinking over the next day or two. I was not thinking the next 3 hours."
And I was thinking that it is likely wise to find the cause of this plague before more people die.
I wholeheartedly agree. I do hope that you are not overextending yourselves. But who am I to talk about working too hard? Well...
Are you well?
As well as can be expected. I am not sick, if that's what you're asking. But it would seem sleep is a luxury few of us get these days. What did you find?
Nothing, except this.
She'll look at the body in the poncho. Nothing. What do you mean, nothing?
No sickness, a few boxes, no food, no water.
It's
a
almost...
sea hag had moved in, and her pet gave us some trouble.
It's almost as if this boat was a red herring.
I see. A sea hag, you say?
Correct.
Sea hags don't typically inhabit the waters so close to civilization. It's too dangerous for them. For a sea hag to, to take up residence in a ship that was sunk a few days ago, that's troublesome. A red herring, you say? So what?
For what it's worth, the creature is dead.
You're here. How could it be alive? And with that, she kind of has this almost proud look on her face. It's very subtle. And she says, "So a red herring. You think what, this ship was purposely made to look like a plague vessel to draw our attention away from something else?"
There were no vermin. The body we found on the ship is, and she will gesture to it, not diseased. It shows no signs of emaciation. It was drowned.
There also wasn't even enough food or any of these items that you would expect to support a crew. It's almost like this ship didn't actually come here from somewhere else.
More
wasn't-
trading goods. General goods, of course, in boxes, but nothing to support a merchant vessel.
So an empty ship with the sign of a quarantine sails into our harbor and gets sunk. I'm starting to agree with you. Did you find nothing else? Nothing that might help at least point to who did it?
The only other thing that was of interest besides him was this, and she'll gesture at the footlocker. I recommend opening it somewhere safe. There is no telling what is inside.
And if for some reason this really is the source of the plague, then we need to be careful about how we open it. If it is, like, I think the plague is magical in nature, and if this is actually the source, then it could spread, so we need to be really careful and thoughtful about how we open it.
Well, if you're worried about it being magical, we could just check for that ourselves. As in, I could just ritual cast Detect Magic.
Actually, I totally forgot I could do the same thing.
I don't have that prepared, so I'm glad somebody else does.
It doesn't.
Well, it's a
have
ritual.
to
Doesn't
have it
have
as
to
a
be
ritual,
prepared.
though.
Yeah. Chrysidia will say, she'll say to one of the guards, "You, Corporal, fetch me Timronian." Yes, I know what time it is. Like, he starts to say something, and she goes, "Just fetch him." Thank you. Well, it'll take at least 10 minutes for Timronian to arrive. Cast your ritual. As for
Faust will pull his stuff out and begin ritual casting then.
And as he's doing that, she says, as for opening it, I've seen Timronian pull a nice little trick, a spell that he's quite proud of. I forget the name of it, but it creates a quite lavish house in a dimension not quite in this one. It's his own personal pocket space, you might say. If we need to open this somewhere where we can be sure it won't spread, I can't think of a better place.
While he is doing Detect Magic, I would like to do Detect Poison and Disease. Just in case, just in case.
Got it. Is that a ritual casting or just using a slot?
They're both ritual.
Okay, so you both sit down and start casting rituals. And as they do that, there's like a few minutes where...
Arlen would ask Chrysidia what she knows about the new judge.
The new judge?
Mm-hmm.
Some noble. I'm sorry, you would think the field marshal would be more into politics, but I've been too busy of late to memorize all their names. Publicly, he is well known and well loved. He's very popular among the people. Donates to charity. Always buys a seat at the Crimson Guard ball every year. I don't know the man personally, but publicly at least he seems to be impeccable. Why do you ask?
I was just curious. It seems with everything going on and the Queen making a grab for power, as it seems with her Grey Maidens, I was wondering if this was another power grab.
Well, the nobles of Corvos are always scrambling for power. Whether this noble is in league with the Queen or just was a power-hungry noble that jumped at the opportunity the Queen gave him, who knows in this town.
I suppose it shall remain to be seen.
Yes, as everyone is far more worried about more pressing things. Even the Queen, with all her plans, whatever they may be, has stopped them, it would seem, for the time being, to deal with this plague. Even she isn't crazy enough to ignore something like this.
Well, if you find out anything about him, I would be interested.
The Arbiter. I don't make it a habit of listening to gossip, truly, but while I was out the other day, and I only truly think that because the Church of Abadar keeps seeming to pop up everywhere. I heard that the Arbiter had cut ties with their church after having worked very closely with them.
Remind me real quick who the Arbiter is.
Arlen's dad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
gotcha. Okay.
Sib, I'm sorry. I'm rushing to find out. What was his name again?
Callum. Well,
Callum.
so technically, I forgot that I had mentioned his middle name. John.
James.
James.
Haha, got it here.
Sorry. But his first name, his official name is Callum. Not because I forgot that I
Right.
had already
No,
named
no,
him.
yeah, totally. Right. So his official name was Callum. So, Rhea, you say that, and Chrysidia goes, I had not heard that. Though, now that you mention it, I do remember the Church Abadar actually throwing a banquet in his honor once.
Wait, you mean he's working with the Church of Abadar?
Well,
Not anymore, from what I've heard at least.
He was at one point in time?
there's in the pause, you hear a soft voice behind you. Callum started having a business relationship, it would seem, with the Church of Abadar perhaps about a year ago, where he has donated large sums of money and done much banking with them. He has also, as the field marshal stated, donated large amounts of money to orphanages and started a fund for what they are terming unfortunate children of unknown fathers. He is much loved in the city, and then as Shala sees, like, everyone starts looking at her, she goes, that's what I hear, anyway.
Thank you for the information.
Why the Church of Abadar? This doesn't make any sense.
Why not?
If you wish to confirm it, perhaps we could ask the priest we met. I'm sure he would have more information and we could spend less time ruminating on it.
But my father, he's always been a member of the Church of Razmir. So why would he suddenly change to be working with Abadar?
Did we know that?
No,
Dad?
you didn't know that.
Abruptly, you have Weary's full attention.
Actually, Murray does know that, and Murray's the only person that knows that. Because
Oh.
Arlen mentioned it in her stumbling ramblings about magic being true or not or real. And
Oh, yeah, that's right. We had a whole conversation about that. I didn't remember that he got brought up.
yeah, that's why Arlen didn't believe in magic, because her father was a big
Gotcha.
follower of the living God.
But did I know that it's that guy? Did
I
you
don't
mention
think-
him by name?
No, that you didn't know.
Okay, so I didn't know that the judge of Corvosa is now your dad.
Yes.
Okay, that's important.
Sorry.
No, you're
Arlen
good.
would be like, yeah, I mean, I told you this, but not realizing she forgot to make that connection.
Mhm.
You in the silence, you would hear a small voice. As Shala again goes, well, it is not uncommon for nobles to publicly worship the Church of Abadar and make a great display of it, despite keeping more personal religious thoughts to themselves, if only because the Church of Abadar is so extremely powerful in this region. They control most of the money and healing, and therefore are allies to those who seek power.
But I mean, I don't feel right with it. I think there's something going on. I think it's something we should look into. I've never known him to be altruistic.
I apologize, and correct me, of course, if I'm getting this wrong, but the Arbiter is your father?
Yes. He was. I don't want other people to know that. In fact, actually, I don't want anybody outside this room to know who I am. I feel like, for me, having this time in a different body allows me some anonymity, and I would prefer it to stay that way. And so I don't want anybody outside of this room to know, A, that he's my father, and B, that I'm that Arlen.
I see.
Well, of course, if that's your choice, then I will abide by it.
And to that regard, Chrysidia said, I have staged a modest, quiet ceremony for Arlen and arranged for a subtle obituary to be published in a paper soon. Hopefully it helps you.
I appreciate it, Cressida. That's very kind.
She shakes her head. My life has gotten far more interesting after I met you lot. Though I suppose that's not quite your fault. And we'll say with that, Faust will finish his ritual. Murray's, yours is going to take a little longer as you kind of got stopped in the middle of it. You'll have to finish it up. Faust.
Mm-hmm.
The chest itself is not magical. However, your spell does detect something magical inside it. Inside it? Yep, good speaking there, Squee.
Is it possible at all to tell what the shape is?
Nope. All you can tell is if something is magical or not, and I think you might be able to tell, like, a general, like, what school it is magical. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which, actually, I will give you, but you'll have to give me a moment. As I can't think of what exactly this would, what school that would be part of. Probably, Invocation, probably?
Did you say evocation?
Yeah, probably. I might change that in a second. As I'm pulling this up. Oh, no, abjuration.
Abjuration.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, I have something to announce. I finished my spell. I can't describe to you what exactly is in the box shape-wise or much about it other than that it is somehow related to abjuration. I unfortunately don't have much experience with the field, as it is not the school I attended. But whatever it is definitely involved magically.
Okay.
And this would be allowed to everyone, obviously.
Okay.
He's not trying to be quiet about
we'll be
it.
focusing on finishing her ritual too.
Okay.
What is abjuration?
I believe I'm going out of character for a second to make
Sure.
sure I have this right. I believe abjuration is oath related, isn't it?
No, abjuration is
Relinquishing one sec.
So is this something that I can do like an Arcana check to find out more about?
Sure, absolutely. And you know what, Faust, you do as well, because you're not a wizard, you're a cleric. But you did go to the academy,
right.
so do it. Both of you do an Arcana check.
I'm just
Whoa!
trying to remember.
22 Arlen, 9 Faust. That's still it's not a hard thing to pass. Both of you would know of the schools of magic, abjuration spells generally deal are protective in nature. Though some can have aggressive uses, they generally create magical barriers or negate harmful effect or harm trespassers and things of that nature.
Right. Okay, I'm thinking of non-D&D word. I just looked it up.
Oh, yeah. No. It's the School of Abjuration. So it's most of your protective spells or your barrier spells, things of that nature.
So...
dispel magic, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
In theory, the spell very well might be something that's trying to keep us from opening the box. I would be careful with it if we have anyone who knows Mage Hand or something. Possibly stand further away.
Well, abjuration, and just like looking it up in D&D, and like, would Arlen know abjuration is more like shielding?
Yeah, especially with that role.
Okay, it's more about like protecting. So like, say, magical armor would fall into abjuration, or like shields, mage armor, faith shield, things say like that. Sanctuary, not so much things that you would use to like secure a box.
Well, I would think that would depend somewhat. Everyone has something they want to protect, and sometimes it may not be a person, it may be a box. Depends on what's inside.
Sure. I guess we can find out when Timonius gets here.
Did somebody call my name? As you see the wizard dressed in what looks like a nightgown with an actual nightcap flopped over his shoulder, smelling slightly of brimstone. He comes walking in. Ah, Field Marshal Cressidia, it has been too long, and it is my pleasure to once again be in your office. My friends, I trust, going by the current humidity surrounding you, your adventure went well.
We survived.
And what more can an adventure ask for?
Answers.
I see. And what may this old magician do for you to give you answers?
We have a chest that we found in the bottom of the plague boat. Suspected plague boat. And it appears to have magic inside. Is there a safe way to open this?
He starts stroking his beard, and then he mutters something under his breath, and then like waves his hand over the box, and he says, Abjuration. Well, there is definitely an item in there that is magical, but the box itself isn't. If someone were to magically enchant or trap the box, they would most commonly enchant the box itself. Perhaps it is only holding an item of magical value, but if you are looking for a safe place to open it, I'm sure I can accommodate. If you would all, but spare me a few minutes. I don't happen to have this prepared on hand. I'll have to perform a small ritual. And he'll back off to the corner of the room and pull out from under his robes what looks like a component pouch. Whether he grabbed it on his way here or just always has it on him, don't know that part. And he starts performing a ritual.
Would I have the results of my
Yes.
detect poison and disease?
Yes, you would. No poison or disease associated with that box.
Okay. Or what is in it?
Correct. You don't sense any poison or disease actually in the room at all.
Okay. All right. She will let everybody know.
Well, that's definitely a good sign.
If unexpected.
Oh, oops. Let me rephrase that. This is not a ritual spell. This cannot be cast as a ritual. With that, he'll actually, so he'll spend some time actually, but he's spending the time preparing the spell, not casting a ritual. Make sense?
Yeah.
He pulls out
Sure.
his spell book and sits down in a corner and begins preparing it. Because I can't imagine he would just have this spell on hand at all times. With that, it's going to take him probably a good 15 minutes to prepare the spell. And after like 5 minutes, Chrysidia just kind of, I hate waiting.
Yeah, everything with magic seems to be a lot of hurrying up and waiting.
It's probably better to be patient than to see your office, I guess, go up in flames. Might be better to exercise caution.
I know. And with that, she goes back down and fills out some paperwork. And she, as he's casting that, she goes, "Huh, that's interesting. Apparently, a woman by the name of Vendra Logri is selling a miracle cure for the blood veil." And she'll look up at Murray. "Is such a thing possible?" Murray?
You're muted.
I am in fact muted, and I'm sorry about that. I did also think her name was Laundry. That was a laugh.
Oh, sorry, it's all caps. It's just what I copy pasted. It's not me going, "No!" Yes. Sorry, I just pasted her name and it was in all caps.
No problem.
I think
Since I've made multiple medicine checks on this, would I need to do that again to tell her if like a miracle cure is possible?
Do you have the alchemy skill or the alchemy proficiency? Any of you? Like on your character sheet under proficiencies.
Nope.
I do not need more.
All right. Then.
So she'll probably tell her like it depends on what the cure is. It would likely need to be magic in nature.
I see. Well, it would seem she's like basically reading through something.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "Well, it would seem that for the price of 2 gold, you can get a luxuriant liniment of the everyday elixir." And she kind of goes through it. Apparently, it soothes aching joints, tired feet, sore hands, throbbing heads. Takes the pain out of cuts, burns, bruises, blemishes. Oh, it smells like chastity, confidence, and respectability, and tastes like honey dewdrops over snow clouds, and most miraculously, can dispel the blisters and damage caused by the blood veil. Sounds like quite the deal.
And
Sounds too good to be true.
I agree.
Indeed.
yes, I was going to say for 2 gold, I doubt that is a simple spell being casted.
I seem to think the same way, and so did the guard that put this on my attention. The problem is, normally, if it's a woman selling snake oil, I wouldn't care too much. The world has no shortage of them. But if people are coming to this person seeking false treatment instead of getting real treatment, that could make things worse. But I can't make assumptions. Maybe this woman's on to something.
Well, the concern is that perhaps it only mitigates symptoms and then allows the sickness to remain, spreading it to others.
Perhaps. Well, after we settle the contents of this box, perhaps if you have the time, you might look into it for me. We're stretched too thin to chase down stories like this, but this could cause real damage, or be a great boon if is any truth to it whatsoever. Oh, and I'm sorry, I'm getting tired. I almost forgot. And she'll look at Murray and Arlen. What we spoke about earlier. The request?
Sure.
I have very little more information, but this person who goes by the name of hang on, there we go, Eris Yellow Eyes is desperately searching for those we spoke of and seems to think it is related to the plague. So perhaps if you are up to it, and she'll look at the others, might be worth looking into. You can find her by the docks in Old Corvosa.
And I suppose we will need to decide where we go first.
She
So I
nods.
suppose we should get the matter of this box settled before then. It may provide answers.
And with that you hear, "Ha! All right. Thank you for waiting, my dears. Quite ready, quite ready. Prepare to feast your eyes upon my magnificent mansion." And he casts a spell, and in the air in front of him, what starts as a pinprick of golden light spreads out into a thread-thin line that seems to cut the air, and the line then opens up into a golden doorway. And he goes, "Well, after you. It's quite safe, I assure you. And bring your box."
Sure.
Who has
Sounds
the box,
fun.
by the way?
I believe Arlen has been carrying it.
Okay.
Faust will prance his way straight in.
Rio will follow.
Moira will take up the rear. Everybody else should probably go first. Am I bringing the dead dude? What did we do with him?
That's up to you.
Okay, so he's just chilling with the guards for now?
Sure. Oh, well, one of the guards. The other guard has not come back yet. The guard that was sent to go get Timronian.
Yeah, I think we should totally leave the dead dude and follow Timronian.
Okay. So you all follow in. As you step through the door, you step out of Chrysidia's office into a lavish white marble parlor with gold trim. The entire room is made of polished, beautiful white marble with large, almost Greco-Roman style pillars reaching up to the ceiling, where you see a magnificent chandelier up above you, and to your right a spiraling white marble staircase that goes up to a second floor. And he goes, "Welcome to my humble home. It is, well, not a spell of my design, but a magnificent spell nonetheless. Quite fitting for me, don't you think?"
It's about as humble as the rest of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's almost as ostentatious as you are.
You're too kind, dear. You're too kind. Well, come. This is a different, own little pocket dimension, so if there's any nasties in that chest, then we're the only ones that'll be affected by it.
Does anyone have Mage Hand who could do this, like,
The only person I could think of would be Arlen, and I think she would have spoke up.
Nope, don't have a mage hand. Sorry.
Timronius might have it.
I don't know if technically I still have little mechanical constructs that can do things for me.
Did we find traps on this box either?
No, we didn't search for traps.
Well,
We might want to do that real quick. I don't have that.
Yeah, we check for traps.
Sure.
just
Whoever wants to do it, or if someone wants to aid them, roll me an investigation.
I'll aid whoever's searching for traps.
I will check for traps.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have it prepared.
And I don't know. Do I add anything to it?
No, you roll for advantage.
Advantage.
So one more time.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah, when someone aids you, you get advantage. Much
Whoa,
better.
25.
Right,
okay.
25.
I forgot.
You are quite confident there are no traps in this.
Okay.
So.
Oh, I think we checked when we were underwater, but I'm glad we checked again.
I think you did, yeah. But
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
No, I checked the trap door. Oh yeah, wait, did I check the?
You might have checked the
so
chest. It's been a while. So Murray, you're quite confident there's no disease or poison. Faust, you're confident that the box itself isn't magical, though something inside it is. And Arlen, you are confident there are no traps.
So what Arlen's gonna do, is there like a lock on it? Or something from the outside?
There is a latch, a tightly sealed latch, but there is no lock.
Okay, so Arlen's gonna pull out from the bag of holding, she's gonna pull out her crowbar. And because she doesn't want to actually touch the chest, because she knows things, like the illness, it seems like it's being spread by touch. So,
well, Moira has told you there's no disease on it.
Oh, that's true. But still, she's going to be super paranoid and just use the crowbar to lift the latch and then lift the lid.
Okay. The latch unhinges with a click. And the lid, it takes a little bit of strength as you kind of break the seal. Not that there was any wax or anything sealing, but it was very tightly fit. So there's a little like, and it kind of pops open. And inside, there's no explosion or poof of anything. There's simply items, mainly the following. Inside, you find 25 platinum pieces, 20 gold pieces, a cloak that Faust, your spell would still be active, so a cloak that is magical, and when you unfurl the cloak, it is blood red, and it has a symbol on it. Everyone who is proficient in knowledge religion, roll me a check.
Okay.
Oh, Faust.
Nice. Two
Wow.
21s and a 2.
All right. Rhea and Wiri. The symbol on it is the unholy symbol of Ugathora. Ugathora is the goddess of disease and death. A very evil, nasty goddess.
That's so terrible for my character. He should really know who she is.
He should. He really should.
Of all people, like he's like lined up to someone almost like her.
Yep. And you find one more thing in there. A exquisitely bound book in black silk and velvet over dark wood covers that says, "Serving Your Hunger." And Rhea and Murray, you would instantly know this is Ugathora's sacred text. It is a religious book that has many of Ugathora's teachings. In addition to that, while I'm sure neither of you have read the book yourselves, you do know, while you don't know exactly what's contained within, you do know that several of the churches in town, especially the more goodly churches, would pay quite a pretty penny to have that book, if for no other reason than to eliminate it. It is the book itself is of quite some value if given to a church.
Okay, so they're more interested in the book itself or what's inside it.
They're more interested in preventing others from reading it. Many of the churches, for especially Sarenrae, and many of the others, Ugathora is just an unholy, unsightly bitch. And really, the more things of hers that are taken from this world, the better off the world is.
Okay. So Moira would probably know that off the bat if she's a cleric,
especially with that role, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm just pointing out that you would also know that the churches do pay handsomely for such items. Some of them, depending on the church, to keep it, to study it. Others, to destroy it.
I
think
did
in
put
this
the stuff in the chat.
I think in this case, given the plague, we should probably study it.
Yeah, that's exactly what Arlen wants to do, especially if you mention who the Ugathora is. She wants to start scouring the book to see what's in it. Maybe there's something helpful related to the plague.
Okay. While you do that, Shala will come up and she'll say, if you want, I could cast Identify on the cloak.
By all means.
Okay. And she reaches out, looking grateful just to kind of do something. And she mumbles some words and casts a spell, and she goes, it is a cloak that helps resist bad things. And I'm just going to kind of go out of character for a second here. It is a cloak of resistance. It gives you... whoever wears it gives you a +1 to all saves and gains resistance to fire.
I was close.
But it also holds the symbol of an unholy god.
Yes.
Well, I mean, like, if we change that symbol, would it change the cloak itself?
Well, it's embroidered onto it, so theoretically, with a skilled enough hand, you could just rip the symbol off.
And I had a different color.
You know, Arlen's had experience recently in making cloaks.
True enough.
So, you know.
And Weary spent enough of her life patching holes in children's clothing.
I'm sure we could work together to remove the symbol, or at least deface it enough.
Yeah, I was just wondering if, like, the magic comes from the symbol itself.
No. Okay. The cloak itself, the cloak doesn't seem to be malicious in any way. It is just a cloak of resistance that happens to also have the symbol of Ugathora embroidered onto it.
Okay.
But
so,
that said, if you don't carefully remove it and damage the cloak itself, you might risk damaging the enchantment, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'd run that risk. Yeah. Absolutely, I'm not wearing it.
What? You wouldn't just wear a cloak of Ugathora around town as a priestess of Sarenrae?
I would do it.
I would sooner burn it. I did want to say out of character. What are we gonna do about this dead guy? We don't know who he is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do we want to try and identify him? Do we want to just bury him?
Strictly speaking, if you're talking about the identify spell, I don't think that would work on a person's body.
No. I meant like.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. Does he look native at all? Like, I know that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, clothing-wise, does it look like something that would be native or, like, domestic here?
No.
Okay, yeah, that makes it a lot more difficult.
Someone like to
Well-
roll me an investigation check?
Yeah, I
I
was
will
thinking.
aid Arlen.
I was thinking, given the possibility of this being divine plague, the churches may want to get more involved as well.
All right. Oh.
So I roll an investigation and I get a 19. I'm trying to find out more about the cloak.
Got it. Give me a second while I look into that for you. Unfortunately, he's wearing simple black robes, so that's not really, like, doesn't give you any real indication of where he's from. Like, that's not like local fashion of some city.
Right. No, I get what you mean.
So nothing quite there.
Claudia just brought up a good point to me. Speak with Dead is a spell.
Yes, it is. So, here's what you would know, Murray.
Is it?
When it comes to Speak with Dead, it's going to be tricky with this corpse only because it has no tongue, which means that if you used it, you would have to be limited to almost like yes or no questions that he might be able to nod or shake his head to, if that makes sense, because he cannot physically talk.
Are they able to, like, animate themselves at all, or is it just talking?
Very little. They could move their head from side to side. They might be able to raise a hand, maybe, depending on how strong the connection is. Enough that you, like I said, you might be able to ask yes or no questions, but not much more than that.
Okay.
He could
as
make
much
noises,
as-
but imagine his ability to speak would be that of one who's missing a tongue. So it
Gotcha. I
kind of
totally forgot that
exists.
about him.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I would recommend. As much as Moiri tries to stay away from the necromantic spells at all costs.
And also, you would know that there is no compelling reason for them to answer truthfully if they choose not to. Like, the spell doesn't force them to tell the truth. You'd need a separate spell, like Zone of Truth or something for that.
Okay, that I do have,
Just out
and
of
I will be
curiosity,
happy to cast.
you said that he's wearing black robes. Do they denote like cultic appearance?
No, simple black robes. Could be cultic, could be wizard that likes black. You know what I mean? They're too simple to really tell.
Right. Considering that he was on the boat alone with all of this in the safe box, I want to make the connection. It's not necessarily true, but that he might have been a follower of Urgathoa.
I think that's a pretty solid assumption.
Well, actually, while you're doing that, Arlen, you've been perusing the book, yes?
Yes, I have.
And Moiri, out of the corner of her eye, is just watching carefully.
So, the text is largely presented as a combination prayer book and cookbook for the preparation of various humanoids as meals. But it also serves as a primer for taking a conciliatory approach to dealing with the undead and for the transformation of oneself into undead. It also has a very interesting thing that you note about it. Whoever had this book has committed one might say a form of blasphemy. Whenever the name Ugathor appears in the text, it has been scratched out, and a name has been pinned above it that reads Andacian.
What? Spell that?
Yeah, I'll type it in the thing. Andaisian. Andacian. Or Andacian. Probably Andacian.
And Dyson?
Andacian? Ooh, that sounds better. Alright, we'll go with Andacian.
Dasani?
No. Andacian has been written above the name. Anytime the name Ugathor appears, Ugathor has been scratched out, and the name Andacian has been written above it.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Does it mention anything about were-rats as meals?
No.
Okay.
Not in what
Just
you
wanted
found.
to
Like, you've
check.
only perused the book, so not in the few minutes that you've searched through it.
Okay, and the book is not magical. Okay, that's good.
No, it's not. And Chrysidia would say, "What's interesting? What's in the book?"
Oh,
Mary will mutter under her breath something like unholy.
yes, it's just prayers from Ugathora, and well, there's this name and diason that's written in it.
Chrysidia's head snaps up. What did you say?
And diason? Every place Ugathora's name is written, it's scratched out in diason.
Let me see that. And she'll, like, take the book from you, unless you, like, physically resist.
Well, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Faust?
I don't know. Where is Faust?
Probably peeking over, staring at the book as well.
Ireland would not let Faust see the book.
Okay, even though it's related to his work, but
That's exactly why she's not letting him see
he
it.
will intentionally try to see the book.
So, like, this is common circling thing going on. But will you allow Chrysidia to take the book?
I will show it and, like, stand kind of in front of her and kind of crowd it.
Okay.
And while you do that and have to hold it still, he will try to look at the book.
Give me a perception check.
Nat 1, Nat 1,
For
Nat
Faust.
1.
That's the wrong. It would be a 9. I can.
Yeah.
Like if you're keeping the 4, I mean. I rolled the wrong thing, but I would have gotten a 9.
Sure. All right. You see a recipe for cooking a human arm in a stew.
Oh, that's interesting. Unusual to find that underwater.
Chrysidia would see the name in diason, and she would just start shaking her head, and she'd go, "Oh no."
What is it?
And diason. Several years ago, there was a small village by the name of Burundi, up north, the northern shores of Nidal. The village was hit by a sudden and devastating outbreak of bubonic plague. The investigators up there in Aldous found evidence of the cult of Ugathora led by a woman named Indiason. They had engineered the outbreak, but the high priestess and her cult had absconded.
So you think it's maybe something related to this cult? They're the ones behind the disease?
A mysterious plague breaks out in Corvosa, a red herring on which you find obviously a member of the cult of Ugathora. After all, if he was the only person on the ship, these items most likely belonged to him. And he's crossed out his goddess's name with the name of a criminal who is known to strike villages with diseases. Seems a little too coincidental for my taste.
Then why was he on the ship?
Is there anything about the cult of Ugathora cutting out people's tongues?
Miri, roll me a perception check. And Rhea, you as well.
I mean, I figure either this is another planted item to try and make it look like Ugathora, or it really is.
Murray, when you ask that question, why was he on the ship, you hear Shala say, almost under her breath, "Every plan needs a scapegoat."
Well, it is true that it didn't look like he wanted to be there. He drowned.
Shala would look up and go, oh, no, what I meant was, say the ship was a red herring, as Arlen says. Well, someone had to sail it, right? The ship couldn't sail into the harbor on its own. Someone would have to, well, take the plunge. Maybe he meant to get away and... Well, Murray, you said he had a nasty head wound, right?
Correct.
Maybe he didn't.
So
Maybe.
that marks him as possibly one of the cultists if he was truly on board that ship to guide it into the harbor.
He might have been one of the cultists, or since his tongue was out, he could have been somebody who works for whoever is instigating this and trying to frame the cult of Ugathora. And what better person to use than, say, slaves who can't
If truly
defend
they are
themselves?
trying to frame someone, then we would have heard the cult of Ugathora's name much sooner. I doubt that is correct.
And Chrysidia shakes her head. This man, when you found him, he wasn't bound by any means?
No, it appears he hit his head rather hard on the footlocker that we are holding now. And
Then if he was an
drowned.
unwilling participant, why not jump ship the first chance he got?
Maybe he was knocked out.
You have to sail the ship.
That's true.
Well,
So he was
I just
there
want to
because
throw
he
out
wanted to be.
the
But
wound.
perhaps
Well, the weapon we believe wounded him was the safe or the footlocker itself. That was what had the blood on it, correct?
Yes.
I doubt someone picked that up and... Well, I mean, I guess it's possible. I think it's more likely that he just fell, though.
or perhaps either by accident or perhaps intentionally.
I
Well,
mean,
what probably caused him to fall was the ship being shot.
yeah. So you're thinking maybe this is the work of the cult of Ugathaya?
Well, we don't really know, but I don't
We
think
have-
any amount of time we spend here discussing will give us a definitive answer. We just don't know that much.
As of now, we have more questions than answers, and it is likely a wise course of action to simply file this knowledge away and continue our own investigations. Certainly, there must be people in the city who know more than we do.
I agree, and, well, with everything going on, time is certainly not a resource we have a lot of right now.
Chrysidia nods. If it helps, I have made a career out of catching criminals, and sometimes to catch them you have to study them. I have studied a lot of sick people, and my gut tells me... She points to, like, a word that's crossed out, one of the Ugathoras that's crossed out, and DCN is written next to it. This smacks of obsession. Almost fanatical.
Almost reverent.
She nods.
Why would the cult of Ugathora strike here? Why now?
More questions we do not have the answer to.
Chrysidia nods. But we know more now than we did before you went. Well, I think, as your friend here stated, there's not much more to be gained here, and all the questions and answers that we need are out there. I suggest, no, I order that you all get some rest. That could not have been an easy thing for you to do, and you all look exhausted. Get some rest, and then, well, I'm sure we all have plenty of work to do.
Permit me a, shall we say, insubordinacy. And may I return the order to you? You are stretching yourself thin.
She smiles a little sadly at you, and she goes, Murray, my friend, if I may call you that, you have your family and your children to think of. I have an entire city. Sleep must wait for me. But I will take a nap. Will that suffice?
For now.
And she'll give like a one-sided grin.
Before we leave, I do want to make a point to ask where we would go to just see Vindra Logri in case we decide to do that.
Cressidio oh, yes, of course. She runs a perfume shop. What did the note say? On Summoning Street. And Summoning Street is, if you guys will go to your maps, it is over here.
Near the academy.
Near the academy in the rich part of town.
I see. I've been there a few times.
And she goes, and it
Shouldn't
won't
be
be
hard to
hard to
navigate.
find. There's according to the reports, a line of people ringing the building.
Oh, that is rather disturbing. Well, doesn't sound that different from the Church of Abadar, I guess.
Yes, except the Church of Abadar are known healers. I suppose I should not be so unkind when I don't know enough. Maybe this woman is onto something. Let us pray that is so. But, and with that you hear, if I may, you mentioned something about a nap. Well, the beds in this place happen to be the most comfortable you could possibly find. Silk sheets, don't you know? And Cressidia like looks at Timronian, looks at Muri, just like throws her hands up and starts like climbing the stairs.
Rest well.
And she nods. She goes, "Tell the guard outside to put the body in the morgue." And then just walks up the stairs, like having given up the fight. That offer is open to you as well, if you like. There's plenty of room.
I feel I would rest better in my own home, but thank you.
As you wish. Well, I suppose I must stay here, otherwise our dear Field Marshal would be very unceremoniously thrown back onto the floor of her office. So, I will bid you all adieu, and good luck.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you kindly.
He nods. And if you are ever in the market to perhaps sell that cloak, I could give you a very reasonable offer for it.
Perhaps, but right now I think it's evidence and it's important in this investigation.
Of course.
I agree entirely.
As you feel. Well, good luck, my friends, good luck.
Thank you.
And with that, you all can step out of the golden door, back into Cressidia's office, where there is still a guard standing next to the corpse, still wrapped in Muri's poncho.
Mary will relay the order, and she will kind of pull the guard aside and say very quietly, I would recommend it not be left unguarded. I would prefer there be eyes on it.
I see. Well, if that is the request of the Field Marshal, we'll make sure that it's done.
I thank you.
He nods, and he'll pick the body up and take it towards the morgue. Oh, what do you guys want to do now? We can pull back into more narrative if you guys want to head home. Is there anything you'd want to do other than that?
Well, we have business in Old Corvosa anyway, so going over there wouldn't be an issue.
True.
It's just if we want to check out Vendor Logri on the way back or not, but that could possibly be dangerous.
Alright, look. Miri is damp. She's tired. And now she no longer has a poncho because it's wrapped around a dead guy.
I agree. Let's go get some rest.
Yeah, we are going right the fuck home.
Are you sure? I'm sure one of you has a spell slot or two.
I have a spell slot, I think.
See, you're golden.
I have like half of my spells.
Look,
It's fine.
Half. That's
I didn't cast any of my spells.
look at that. You guys are at tip-top shape. Says the GM plotting your next characters. No.
I already know what I'm gonna do for my next one if something bad happens. So, oh no.
I already have one waiting in the wings.
So you all make your way back towards Old Traversa. It's about a good 40-minute walk or more, given how far away Citadel Volshenik is from where you are. What strikes you as you walk through the streets is just how quickly this disease is spreading, especially in Old Corvosa, which is, and especially to you, no surprise. The population density in Old Corvosa is at its worst. Everywhere you go, you hear coughing from a window, or you see people with sores. It's getting bad. Hundreds of people just on your way home. Some places that you pass have been quarantined. They actually have gray maidens standing outside them. Every once in a while, you'll pass a group of physicians moving from one house to another. Yeah. But you manage to make your way back to the orphanage. And as you come back in, Anna comes up and she goes, "Oh, thank God you're back. I was worried. Is everyone all right?"
We are well, and yourself?
Good.
The children, I'm worried about
I have
them.
not let them leave the house.
You are too kind.
They complained, but I found ways to keep them busy. It is... well, it's not good out there.
It's
No, it's not.
not good anywhere.
She nods. And then she notices Faust. So, we're letting him in now?
Faust will cock his head slightly and say, "Well, I was promised dinner."
When did I
What?
promise you dinner?
Hey, you made a very open and broad statement saying, "Yes, and we will have eel dinner later tonight." And that implies everyone standing next to you as far as he knows. So he is considering that as you promising him dinner.
Oh, I thought you were saying that in character. I thought, hey, you said.
I'll say that was mostly in character, yes. He would give reasoning back like that.
You'll see Miri kind of give a long suffering sigh, and she'll kind of pull Anna aside and say, "I cannot legally refuse him, not while he wears that mask."
Oh, right, the notice. You, she points to Faust.
Me?
She like crooks her
point at
finger.
myself?
She like crooks her finger. You are sleeping over there, and she points to like the furthest end of the downstairs living room in a corner. I'll get you blankets.
Fine with me. I've slept in much worse places.
Good. If I see you anywhere around the children... And she hesitates and she says, "Did I ever tell you my late husband was a warrior for the Gorham god?"
Faust will cock his head and say, "Did I ever tell you that I used to roam around with a lot of children on the street? I've had enough of their antics. I'll be fine."
Good. I'll go get some blankets then. And then she'll look to Miri like one last time. And
Miri will very gently pat her shoulder.
And then she'll go upstairs to get blankets for Faust.
Also, Faust is lying. Do I need to make a deception roll?
Yeah, go ahead.
Which part of that were you lying about?
Roaming the street
Not
with
messing
kids?
with the children.
Oh, not
No.
Oh, yes. Then desperate. Oh, okay. All right.
He probably will eventually.
She probably thinks that you're afraid enough of Murray that you're not going to try anything. Apparently, fall
I
asleep,
think
but still.
it would be hard to tell if he's afraid.
Yeah, well,
I'm
I'm
just
just
saying
saying.
it would
much
be a very
expression.
wise decision. On your part.
I'm coming up with a justification for why she might believe you.
Yeah.
So she'll go upstairs to get blankets, and with that, Shala will say, well, if I'm still welcome, I'll go to my room.
You are always welcome. Arlen, if you would, I would like a word.
Sure. Do you need help getting dinner ready?
I will in a moment, but we have a decision to make.
Sure. Yes. Let's go upstairs and talk for a minute.
She will glance at Rhea. If you would please ensure he behaves.
Faust will look around and say, who's the he you're talking about? I have no idea.
And Rhea. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Also, I want to make it clear, unless they're carrying. Sorry, I can't talk good. If they're carrying the book with them, otherwise Faust is going to try to nick that and read it himself.
Oh, Arlen took the book and put it deep in her bag of holding, and she
Never
has
mind.
that stuff locked down.
That's what I was asking, is if it would be on you or not.
In a matter of speaking, technically, it's not even
Yeah.
on this plane.
Yeah.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
But yes, in a matter of speaking,
possible.
yeah.
Oh no, she is gonna guard that thing more than her brother's lab notes.
Oh my God, that's a little excessive.
Away from Faust.
I was gonna
Only
say.
from him specifically.
Yeah. I
But
know.
he
I know
would
exactly what you mean.
probably be more insightful about it than anyone else.
I know.
She feels like she needs to look at it, and she doesn't quite trust this guy, and she knows he's into necromancy, and it's got recipes for people. So
Soylent
He already
Green is
knows
people.
recipes for people.
yeah, but like Arlen's whole thing, like she thinks Faust is like going at all of this research and all this stuff the wrong way. So she's trying
with
to
me.
like,
Right, she doesn't know what Foss knows or doesn't know.
Yep, you were right.
and she's also going to try and teach him how to do things in a scientific investigation type manner. So she will try to control what new information he has access to.
Plus, she's a dwarf, and you
Okay.
know how stubborn they are. So Arlen and Murray head upstairs, and Charlotte goes, I guess I'll wait down here then. And she just kind of awkwardly stands around in a room that's empty except for Faust and Rhea.
Well, there are rooms upstairs. She can go to her room.
Oh, she doesn't, though. Like, the second you guys start going up the stairs and she heard that you were going to have a conversation, she just decides not to go upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
So, you two make your way upstairs. You can hear the gentle snores of sleeping children.
I wanted to talk to you about the feast, the banquet the other night. Who is it, Lady Arconis? Is that her name?
That was her name, yeah.
She knew way too much that was going on. Like information that seemed like it was coming from inside the group. Like inside this orphanage.
Which is troubling. She knows much more than she has any right to. But
We should be careful who we plan with, around, and or in front of.
indeed, and what I called you up here to speak of was... What are we going to tell them? What are we going to tell them, Arlen? What are we going to tell them about Gadrian? And how we lost Otto, and almost lost you? They have every right to know about it. They have every right to know what they're walking into when they go places with us.
Yes. I mean, if we're going after Gadrian, they have a right to know. But like this right now, I mean, unless you think he's behind it or something, we don't necessarily owe everybody our story. I mean, Rhea knew this was a dangerous place.
As far as I'm concerned, he has one foot in every issue this town can produce. I know very little about his habits and much less about him than I'd like. I feel we cannot be too careful about letting our allies know exactly what they might be getting.
Okay. I mean, I think Faust already knows quite a bit. And I'm not sure how much Rhea knows. And as far as... well, who's still here? Anna? Otto's wife?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if
Yes,
there's
that's-
anybody else other than the kids that are left over from earlier.
No, Amelia and her mom and Triana have all flown the coop. So it's just, as far as the original, it's just Anna for now.
So I'm not sure how much Anna would need to know. And
Anna, I think, understands that we attract danger, and she knows part of our history.
But
That
I don't
think is enough. I'm not saying we give them the full story of every terrible thing that's ever happened to us, but they need to know that they are in danger here.
Yes, you're right. You're right. I just, well, you know, I'm not one for just telling everybody everything right off the bat.
Of course. I feel it would be prudent to let them know sooner rather than later, especially if we are going to be gallivanting around the streets, especially with the sickness. I would advise we speak to them, but keep it simple. Perhaps.
I will let you take lead on that conversation, because I know that I tend to talk way too much and give maybe way too much information.
If that is what you wish.
As a GM, I'm going to jump in real quick here, only because it's been over a week, and you guys may already be thinking about this, which so is great, but I'll remind you. If you are planning on speaking to Eris Yellow Eyes, she is looking for the ones in the gold and white masks.
Sure, I remember that.
All right. Just, okay, good.
What was her?
Eris Yellow Eyes.
Okay. Is that all you wanted to talk to me about?
I worry about the boy. I worry that you, well, might grow too close to him. I have made no secret of it that I dislike him and his methods. I worry that in your pursuit of curiosity that you might lose your kindness.
I feel like my kindness is more at stake. I mean, with just things that we've encountered. I think my curiosity is one of the things that helps keep me grounded.
The thing about curiosity is that if it is not governed by something, it can destroy as much as it creates.
Arlen kind of takes a second and looks at her thunder cannon and goes, "That's something I'm intimately familiar with. How curiosity can lead to greater danger, and sometimes things that would have been better left unexplored. But with Faust, I mean, he's gonna do his research and investigation with or without us. Wouldn't we rather make it something that's useful?
My preference would be making it something that is kind. There is far too little of that in this world.
That's very true. Knowledge in and
I'm
of it.
willing to tolerate his presence if you believe that it is something that you want.
I believe that he can be as useful to me as I am to him.
Anna, who actually walks in between you all with a bunch of blankets, says, "I believe I'm going to box his ears if he so much as looks at a child wrong," and starts like going down the stairs.
And I believe Anna.
Oh, we would not have had this conversation in front of Anna.
Like so.
About Faust? No.
Yeah, I mean just in general.
Oh, okay.
Continued.
So okay. I thought you guys were just like in the hall and she was walking past. So like maybe you would have been quiet as she passed.
Yes.
Okay. So like, you follow quiet and you just see her. She walks between you with a bunch of blankets. She's muttering to herself, and she'll go down the stairs.
I will try to keep an eye on him, keep a leash on him, make sure that his presence is mitigated, I guess.
I think, my dear, you are missing my point. You speak of usefulness as if, well, I've heard too much about the use of people as tools. If his presence is something that you want, I will tolerate it.
I think that right now his presence is beneficial.
If that is good enough for you, then I will allow it. I worry for you, my child.
You know, a month ago, I would have agreed with you. But, well, hopefully I'm starting to get things together.
And hopefully you understand that that is not something you must do on your own.
Well, I tried it on my own, and it didn't work very well. So maybe having people's help. Well, maybe I'll try something different this time.
I commend your curiosity.
It's more a matter of you either move forwards or backwards, and And I don't think I want to move backwards anymore. I feel like everything I did as Arlen was pointed towards the past, running from it, fighting it, trying to fix it. And that didn't get me anywhere. So, I figure with a new body, I should try to turn over a new leaf, right?
If that is what you wish. Your history is always going to be a part of you, but I understand the decision to not let it govern your future.
Yeah. Maybe one day my past will be something I come to peace with.
I think, my dear, that's something that everybody in this house could use.
Yeah. That's definitely true. So, dinner?
Dinner.
All right.
And
scene.
and we'll back up a little bit while they're having that conversation. Rhea, Faust, anything you guys would be doing? Or let me ask this way, what would you be doing?
I might be watching Rhea to see if she's doing anything in specific, but if not, well, I'll wait to see if there's an answer from Rhea.
Yeah, Rio will sort of awkwardly stand near the side of the staircase and turn towards Shala and say, Shala, if I might, I'd like to speak with you in private, if possible.
Okay. And she kind of like wrings her hands together a little bit, and she goes, "Of course."
It doesn't need to be now, as I've been asked to watch Faust, it seems, but perhaps after dinner.
Sure. Any time.
Thank you.
And with that seeming a bit uncomfortable, she'll sit down and she'll take her violin and start quietly playing it, closing her eyes.
Okay. Faust would like to ritual cast augury. That is what he would be doing since no one is strictly approaching him.
Gotcha. Give me a second here.
I did not realize that has a money cost on it. He's gonna do it anyway.
All right. Well, you are going to have to expend the money, sir. We'll say.
I'm noting it in my sheet.
Thank you. We'll say that my general rules for this is I prefer if you actually do buy the components, but I'm not incredibly stickler for it. You know what I mean? But next time you're shopping, just be sure to mark, hey, I'm going to pick up 25 gold and sticks and bones or something.
Well, you do see on one of Mori's countertops a very cool set of horror cards.
Oh, yes, you do.
If that's the case, rather than casting augury, I might go check those out.
Okay. You pick them up. They look like used but sturdy deck of horror cards.
Well, Faust, I would say, would normally not know too much about them because of his sister. Would he be more understanding of how these work?
Horror cards? Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You know that they're used for like fortune telling.
Right. But I mean, it's one thing to fortune tell, like have someone who knows what they're doing do it for you, and then to fortune tell for yourself.
You could, like, for example, you could use that in place of the bones or similar tokens. You could use the horror cards if you wanted to cast augury.
You will allow that.
Yeah, I'll allow that.
Yes, I'll cast augury then with those.
Okay, so you receive an omen from an otherworldly entity about the results of a specific course of action that you plan to take in the next 30 minutes. What course of action do you plan to take in the next 30 minutes?
Sneak off and investigate the rest of the house.
All right. You lay out the cards, right? And you're beginning to read them, and all of a sudden there is a voice in your head that says, I strongly think that is an ill omen for you, and that you should not do that. As it's hard to tell exactly, but it feels as if you are now holding something that is sentient and that it is speaking to your mind. And it says, I have been with Miri. I know who you are. I think it would be in your best interest. And the omens say, behave yourself.
I see. Okay. I guess if that's what's for the best, I'll have plenty of opportunities later then.
And with that, you draw like one final card, and give me a second here, as because the way horror cards work is you basically set them out in like a grid pattern, and it tells you how you interpret them and how you read them. And as you say, there's always time for that later. You draw one final card, and give me a second here. Where is it? Oh, come now. Oh, there it is. It is the idiot card.
Oh. Oh.
Wow. That's
You
awesome.
know, had I not used this spell, whether I as a person thought it was a good idea or not, he definitely would have done that. As a character, he has no reason not to sneak off. He's curious.
I understand completely. Not that you know who Zelera is, your character does, but Zelera is interacting with your spell, and she's not pleased by your intentions.
I mean, I never stated anything negative. I just wanted to investigate the rest of the house.
I know, but she's been with Murray this whole time, and she is aware of
True.
anything that Murray sees or hears. So,
You guys all assume he's such a bad person.
You're
I'm
just
telling
misunderstood.
you, he's pretty and sparkly, unicorn, yeah, all over the place.
You just happen to join a group where even the Horodex thinks this is like a family. All right.
Even the horror deck doesn't want you around.
Yeah,
Faust.
like even the
You
Horodex.
gotta prove yourself to everybody.
All right.
As far as Muri is concerned, the horror deck is part of the family, so.
And Miri, I see your plus sign.
I meant after the reading.
Okay, yeah. So we'll say reading is finished right about the time, because it takes a while to ritual cast that. Right about the time you two come back downstairs. You would see Faust doing what looks like a horror reading on the table.
Oh,
with Shala sitting out in the back of the room quietly playing a song, and Rhea
Does she look
watching
like-
Faust.
Does Shala look like nervous?
No,
Well, I think her default state of being is nervous.
her default state of being is nervous when she is not playing. Since she is currently playing, she seems to be, if nothing else, at peace. Her eyes closed, and she seems lost in whatever she's singing or playing.
Okay.
And we'll say,
I had wanted to ask. I sent you. I think last session I sent you a message that she would send to Mallow.
yes, I did not get to it. So, give me a second to refresh myself on it. It's not the Insight Birds.
No, but I thought you might find that funny.
I should point out, everyone. Blue sends me randomly throughout the week funny D&D pictures and memes. It's absolutely fantastic. But like I'm scrolling through to find what she wrote her son, which is very serious, and then I have to scroll through Insight Bird. Insight! I roll Insight! Alright, you would get back. Are you okay? You're not sick? Because I believe it can go back and forth, yes?
Yeah. So she can cast it, I think.
And I believe for the duration it can go back and forth.
Yeah, it's only 25 words, but yeah, so she can cast it twice a day, and she can receive an answer.
Just once? Got it.
Yeah, but it's of the same
Yeah.
length.
So,
And I think it can be. It doesn't say in the spell that it has to be immediate.
okay. Well, you would have gotten almost immediate response of, are you safe? Are you ill?
I am safe. I am well. The people in my care are safe and well. It is you I worry about.
You get a final response with that second one. I am safe and well.
That's all I wanted to cover.
Okay. So we'll kind of narratively cover Maria makes dinner. Bluno is not here because you guys got home much later than what you were expecting. Actually, given how late it was, I assume you probably would have meant the next evening at least, because when you told Bluno that, it was already like 9 o'clock at night. So
Yeah.
so you make probably, given how tired, exhausted everyone is, maybe a more simple dinner, something easy and quick. Everyone would eat and then kind of, I'm assuming, wander off their own ways to eat.
Well,
or yes.
While people are eating, Arlen's gonna kind of mention, I think I need a new name to the whole group, because I don't want people to know that I'm Arlen. Does that make sense to anybody?
You wish to leave your prior identity.
Exactly. I mean, we're... Gadrian's still out there, and I don't trust my father, and I think for now, perhaps some anonymity would be helpful.
Wow.
But I'm really... Huh?
Are you wanting it to be something that doesn't draw attention to you, or like a full-on just new name? Like, I mean, like, really complicated.
Well, I think a full-on name and possibly, some kind of reasonable story so that, certain people don't go to banquets and then start talking to me about being reincarnated right in front of people that I don't want to know who I am.
To be
Faust.
fair, I spoke about it only in front of people who were already aware of it, with exception to Rhea, who you seem to trust a lot more than me. So I doubt it was really of much issue. But a new name, that's more important here. Don't worry, I won't bring it up unless, I guess you asked me to. But I will just keep a mental note.
I would appreciate that. So, I guess maybe for lack of suspicion, I don't know. Should I take a dwarf name? I mean,
Alessandra. Like Shala almost like blurts it out, and then like kind of realizes what she did, and I always thought that was a pretty name. And then she like starts shoveling food into her mouth, kind of like.
I'm sorry, what? Alessandra?
Alessandra. It was the name of a beautiful queen in an old legend told by, well, my brother told the story best, but she was a queen in a forgotten age that fell in love with a poor boy in a neighboring realm, and at that time it was unsightly for a queen to do so, but their love was so powerful that she forsake her throne and ran off with the boy, lived happily ever after. But without her rule, the kingdom fell in disrepair. But anyway, I just always loved that name.
It sounds like your brother is a good storyteller.
Sure, Rhea, just roll an intelligence check. Maybe. I mean, it sounds familiar. Maybe you heard it somewhere. Shala would say, "Oh, he's one of the best. My family is, well, they are exceptional bards. Each with their own unique talents. My brother's was storytelling."
That is a nice name, but well, that just hits a little close to home. Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry then. And she'll just go back to eating, maybe a little too quickly.
Maybe we could find a different use for that name, though.
Shala, like, looks over at Rhea, but doesn't stop eating. Her cheeks are blushing. But her cheeks have been blushing, like, ever since the outburst.
well, so, you know, if anybody had advice or suggestions.
A name is an important thing. Some have meaning, some do not. That is a decision that you should come to on your own.
I am one of those who definitely believes in the power and the meaning of the name, and Alessandra is well, maybe a life I don't want to live.
Ah, I see. You are searching for the right meaning.
Yes, meaning is important, and that is absolutely the wrong meaning.
Very well. What meaning are you searching for?
Perhaps something of new beginnings or strength or, something that doesn't remind me of Satomi. But
Well, the word in my language for strength is aras. It takes strength for new seeds to put out roots and push their way to the sun. It takes strength of many to build cities, and it takes the strength of one to decide the course of their soul.
Aras, you said?
Yes.
Okay. I like that.
You actually see Shala like writing something down in a small notebook.
Is she taking notes on Mori's poetic speech?
It was very poetic.
Yeah, that's sorry, I was distracted. Aras is great. Let's go with Aras.
Very well.
Thank you.
And what of the last name? Most would be curious if you did not have one.
Oh. I guess that's true.
Well, if you are continuing in the Kadal name, then your name would be Aras Corvosa, the place in which you live.
That's an excellent idea. So Aras Corvosa. I guess. Thank you.
You are very welcome.
Just like out of character, I'm just curious how you spell the first name. I get the second one's city, but right. I just want to take a mental note so I don't just keep calling her.
I will change it. I'll change it on the display. Okay.
You know, I don't understand how that's supposed to go. I don't know how to whisper in Roll20. I always forget. Maybe there's no space? Nope, that doesn't work either.
The slash is the other way.
Oh. I knew that. Well, then...
The name's also different now, so...
Yeah, well...
Yeah.
By the way, keep in mind, anything written to me in Roll20, whispered or not, is viewable on the stream because of my player window.
I kind of thought that was...
Yeah, that's perfect. That's fine. Just as long as everyone knows.
Situationally required. So.
Yes. What, you don't like Shala's story? It's not her story, actually. It's her brother's.
It's not. We will not be discussing that.
All right.
Anyways.
So, with that, dinner ends, and I suppose that, well, everyone else in the house is asleep, and Shala will very politely put down her fork, and she'll turn to Rhea and say, "You wanted to speak with me?"
Yes.
Okay.
And Rhea will stand up and motion for Shala to go first up the stairs.
She will go up the stairs.
And Rhea will follow.
And she'll, lacking any other instructions, she'll go to her room and hold the door open. Would this be appropriate for a private conversation?
I think so. Yes.
All right. You enter her room. You see she hasn't used it too often, but you see it is pristine. The bed is like hospital corners made. She has put on the little desk with the mirror several actually, more than might be needed, brushes and combs and applications for makeup, very meticulously organized. And you see hanging on the wall is a perfectly clean and unwrinkled, slightly different version of a black and purple dress. And Shala will close the door and she'll say, okay, what did you want to talk about?
First, we needn't do this standing up, I suppose. Would you rather sit?
Oh, yes, please. And she'll, like, sit down in a chair immediately.
Rhea, not wanting to bring anything out of its organized way, will kind of just stand a bit near her.
Okay. She'll look up at you.
While we were down there, that woman, she got loose. And you, I don't understand you. You killed her.
She was going to attack you.
Yes, but I've been attacked before. It's not a problem. Surely there must have been some other way to subdue her, or something not related to death.
Shala starts, her eyes start like darting around the room, almost as if she's looking for something. And then she goes, she was going to hurt you, and she almost killed you and Faust, and I thought that she would, and I thought that, and you see a change come over her. She's always been, as Muri said, her default is kind of nervous when she's not playing. But with her sitting in the chair and you standing there, her expression becomes one of almost of a terrified child. Her eyes grow very wide. Tears start streaming down her face. And she goes, I'm sorry. I did wrong. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. Please believe me. I didn't mean to.
And you'll be like, oh, no, please don't cry. And she'll grab one of her hands in of hers, and she'll sit on the floor next to her instead of standing over her. My intention was not to upset you. I apologize.
It does not seem as if she is hearing you. She is staring into nothing, and she's like, I didn't want to. I didn't want to kill. I didn't want to kill. Mom, I didn't want to kill. I didn't want to kill.
Shala. Shala, and she'll gently shake her arm a little bit and try to tilt her head towards her to get her to look at her.
Shala, like, stops and suddenly looks at you. And, it is... Her eyes look at you, but still have these micro movements of a terrified person.
I have a sense there's something else going on here. Are you all right?
The terrified look slowly goes away, and her face turns to one of just absolute exhaustion. And she's quiet for almost an uncomfortable amount of time. And she says, I'm sorry, I get very nervous when I think that I have done something wrong. I did not mean to upset you.
You have nothing to apologize for your nervousness. My little brother, Daniel, he's the same way. Just... I suppose I forget sometimes that not everyone grew up the way that I did. Learning and knowing all the things that I do.
She looks at you, and her shoulders just kind of slump, and she says, you want me not to kill?
When I've not been a paladin of my order very long. Not long at all, actually. Not too much longer than I've been in the city. But all paladins take an oath. My order, one of our tenets, is that life begets love, and love begets life. I won't bore you with silly details, but and the last portion of that tenet is that an end life can bring no love. And my entire order, we do is we spread love. We attempt to prove that it's real, and to nourish it and grow, whether it's our own or that of others. And death is an extreme last resort for us. I've heard of possibly 1 or 2 cases my entire lifetime, my order needing to resort to death. as an option.
Rhea, roll me a persuasion check. With advantage.
Okay. That's a 14.
All right. Give me a second here. I gotta roll something myself. Wait, where is my thing? Where are my things? There they are. All right, you know what? I'll just do this. Oh, and wait, why am I doing this here? Oh well, it doesn't matter. The whole internet can see. I'm fine with that. Okay. Shala, very quietly, almost under her breath, says, I don't want to kill. I don't know if I can promise. Death is a part of my life. And like that last bit's almost inaudible.
What do you mean?
She squeezes her eyes. I cannot say. I'm sorry, I cannot say.
Ria will sort of give her hand a squeeze and say, it's okay. It's your business. You don't have to tell me. I'm sorry for prying.
She shakes her head, and you can feel her. She's like silently weeping. And after about 30 seconds or so, she picks her head up, and her face is tear-streaked, but smooth and calm, and her shaking stopped. She looks you directly in the eye and she says, I will do what I can, Ria. I will do what I can to keep you, all of you, safe. And I do not wish to harm anyone. And I will do everything I can to not take life. But I cannot swear it. It is not an oath that I can give. And if you want me to leave because of that, I will.
No. All I ask is that you try. And I also give you my word that I will protect you. And she will reach up and try to wipe away some of the tears that have fallen down her face.
She'll look directly at you, and she says, If I will swear not to kill anyone in front of you if you make an oath to me. If there comes a time where we face a foe, and I tell you to run, to leave me, you will do it.
And Ria's face falls at that. My entire life is... I meant protect love and all lives that may yield it. Every life, including yours. That would be going against everything that I've ever sworn or promised anyone, including myself. Can I at least ask why you would wish this of me?
There are people you cannot win against, who, if they wish to kill, they will kill. And if they ever come, and you do not run, you will die. But Ria, I understand. To promise not to kill goes against everything I've ever promised as well. And then she kind of like eyes widen and she kind of backs up and she goes, I say too much. I will do what I can, Rhea. But until you can swear to me, I cannot swear to you.
I'm sorry, but I will not say. And she looks almost as if she's in physical pain, saying this next line. I will not say no to this request, but I believe that I cannot yet say yes.
She nods. I know exactly what you mean. And then she kind of like wipes her face. Oh, this is very unbecoming of a bard and a paladin. And she'll cast prestidigitation on her face to start tidying it up. Thank you, Rhea. What you've said tonight greatly saddens me and also makes me very happy. And if you knew how much of one I've had and how little of the other, you would understand how much that means. Thank you.
Of course. Well, there is nothing I can do if not attempt to bring happiness to those I meet. Obviously, including you. And of course, emotion is never unbecoming person.
I suppose so. Well, and she kind of like hesitates. She goes, "Oh, you must be tired. Oh, we have a big day tomorrow. We have to go to the perfume shop and then whatever Field Marshal Cressidio was hinting at to Muri and Arlen. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, what was her name now? Not Alessandra, surely.
I promise you we will find somewhere to use that name.
See, that is a promise I think we can both be happy keeping.
I believe it was a Ross.
Yes, a Ross. Cressidia meant something for them and not for us. I wonder if they'll let us know. In any case, good night, Paladin Rhea.
Yes, well, if you're sure you will be right, I will go. Or
I will be fine. I know that I am very nervous person, but my resolve has never been stronger.
I will leave you for tonight then, but I will leave you with this. If you shall ever need it, and she will pick up her pan flute from her side. I could sit and play for you, if you'd wish. If it would relax you or make you happy, of course.
She hesitates for a moment and then like cups her hands around yours and she says, Rhea, music is the one thing in this world that has ever given me peace. I would never say no to that.
The offer stands, but never. You may want it. No expiration, I promise.
She nods.
As you said, we day tomorrow.
Yes.
Have a good rest. Inshallah. I'll see you in the morning.
You as well. And she'll kind of follow you out and close the door behind you.
Inshallah. Or, I'm sorry, Rio will make her way to her room.
Roll me a perception.
Oh boy, it's lost outside. Where is that? Oh, I'm sorry, advantage is still on.
That's fine. 21.
But doesn't matter.
Yeah.
21.
As you're walking towards your room, you hear silent weeping. Not silent, obviously. Quiet weeping.
From Shala?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
Where is Ria's room compared to Shala's?
I guess that's up to Miri, honestly. I think she's the one that chooses the the room arrangements. But it would make sense that you guys arrived at the same time, that your rooms would probably be close to each other. Miri, where's Ria in regards to Shala's room?
Next to her. They're both kind of at the corner of the building.
All right, so you guys would share a wall.
Okay, so Ria will go into her room then and settle down on the bed and just start playing anyways.
Okay. Roll me a performance check.
Oh boy.
God, what the worst time to get a natural one.
Ugh, honestly.
Weeping intensifies.
It's so bad. Ria, please stop.
Wow.
23.
Wow. After probably about 15 minutes or so, you hear nothing else.
Ria will keep playing for a few more minutes and then she'll put it down and go to sleep herself.
Okay. And thus, unless anyone gets up to shenanigans.
I did have a plus earlier.
You did, I saw that.
I would like to pull our new friend Aras aside for a second.
Yes.
It was obvious that you didn't want me to inspect that book, but I want to see that book.
Which book?
Forgive me while I consult my memory for a second, but the book we got from the Footlocker.
Oh!
If I recall, it involved cooking someone alive.
Yes. So I was gonna go through that book. I needed to do some research on the diseases and such, to see if maybe some of them match to what was going on. But right after I finish with it, you can have it.
Right. Okay, well, you were wanting me to learn how to study, or I guess, design something more like you anyway. Would it not be easier if you then led by example?
You got me there. Okay.
Does she need to call in Weary as a reinforcement on this one?
Arlen's kind of having a hard time finding a reason to not let him look at it with her now. So
I can say, although we may disagree in our methods, I'm sure my background knowledge at the Academy would provide insightful related to material like this. After all, although I do not consult her very often, the god I do hold an oath to is very much attached to diseases as well.
well, sorry, just player knowledge. Mori, you were the one doing the roles. Like you're the one that knew about the person beforehand. The religious group. Who was it that mentioned all the stuff about
I
the
think
Church of Ugathor?
Didn't I do a religion roll?
Both
I did.
both
It was a
Rhea
21.
and Murray knew about it, so either of them could have mentioned it.
Perfect. Okay, then Arlen will say, why don't we do this as a group, since they have knowledge of Ugathora and some of the maybe more necromancer stuff, and I know a lot about diseases. How about we look through it as a group?
Fine with me. However, my intentions were to read over this. I do not need the rest as much as you do. At least to give it a skim. I have no idea what Mary or Rhea are doing. I wanted to prepare some ideas for the morning before we set out to go search out Yellow Eyes or Logri.
Is anybody else around?
Depends on where, because you said he kind of pulled you to the side. Where are you?
Yeah.
It would be. I'm not trying to be super private about this. Just out of earshot of, I guess, Anna and the children. I don't mind with the party members. They're fine.
Okay, somewhere you would probably be nearby.
So Arlen will call out, Murray, can you come here for a second?
Certainly. What is it?
We need to figure out what information we need from this book. And perhaps maybe if we look at it as a group, without any one person, and she'll kind of look at Faust, out of the side of her eyes, without, any one person getting way more than they bargained for.
I see. And in this situation, would it not be best to be perhaps candid as to the reason why we would choose to look at it as a group?
Because we should look at it as a group, because we all have different expertise and backgrounds. And
out of character, she's just like, just tell him why you don't want him to look at it.
Well, I specifically don't want to tell Faust why I don't want him to look at it, because I don't trust him with the knowledge of like the necromancy stuff, because she knows that Murray doesn't approve of the necromancy stuff. So if Aris gets Murray to say give him the book, then she can do it without any guilt.
Okay, so Murray does not know specifically the contents of the book.
It has
She also rolled a 21 on her religion check, so I'm pretty sure she knows. And she does not have a problem telling Faust that she does not trust him.
That's what I'm trying to get to happen.
Okay. Okay.
Murray would know kind of what's in the book, and would that be something Murray would have gotten from Arlen's? I don't want certain people. Wink, wink.
Yeah, her statement was wondering why you didn't just tell him.
Oh. Because Arlen's not gonna.
Because she's a weenie.
Yeah. Arlen doesn't want to.
Okay. Okay, yeah, gotcha. The things in that tome are not things that should be shared with the world. If we need to look over it for information, then it should be the ones to whom the information is, shall we say, most relevant.
I'm sorry, I didn't. Could you speak up? Like, I didn't hear the last part.
I
just
didn't hear the
part of the
last. Yeah,
sentence.
the information would be something. One who something.
The information would be something that perhaps we keep to a limited number of people.
And you're directing this at Faust?
Yes.
Yes, I understand that you don't trust me. That's fine, I guess. That's
Let me
unfortunate.
rephrase. Faust, why do you want the book?
Earlier, I did say something somewhat unbecoming of my character about people having things to protect. That does include me. This plague, whether I like it or not, no matter how interesting, is not something I can allow to stay around. I have people here I need not getting sick. So, you and I both have a common interest, I hope anyway, in stopping this plague. We are both clerics, and as such, know a little bit more outside of the scope than the common man, I would assume, of such a disease. However, I specialize in this field more so than you do. I believe at least allowing you to glance over it, even if you watch me while I do so, may reveal something of interest.
Real quick, out of character, Alora just gave me the mic. Do I sound any better?
Yeah, you sound a little louder. Yeah.
Okay.
In a good way.
Okay. Okay, perfect. All right.
And now she trusts Faust.
Yes. Faust, I have made no secret of the fact that I do not trust you, and I am glad that you understand. The things in this book are not to be used under any circumstances. They are unholy, they are inhumane. That is not something that I trust with your, shall we say, innate curiosity to not do.
Well, for at least, I can't say how long, at least until this disease goes away, you are probably going to be watching me for a while. In that time frame, should you be so diligent to stay doing so, you would not be able, or I would not be able to use anything from this book, much less it would take me more than a few glances to perfect any techniques from this book. Beyond that, as curious as I may be, my field I have specialized in for reasons outside of only curiosity. I doubt that I would actually be interested in cooking a man and eating him. That is just not something I would find as interesting as something like Aras's case.
So killing someone and reanimating them. I'm afraid you might be missing the point. I do not trust you to, at any point, use any one of these recipes, ever. It doesn't matter right now, it doesn't matter in 10 years.
Faust has no intention of using the recipes, if I did not get that across clearly.
Well, there's also
just wants to
things,
read it.
it's not just recipes about cooking people, it's necromantic rites, it's a ton of other stuff, I'm sure.
Probably, but Faust is not aware of that.
Arlen
Faust
is.
only-
I'm weary it is.
So actually, so what Arlen knows is it is a book mostly of prayers, like a prayer book, and of recipes for cooking people. No, as far as you've seen, Arlen, there's no rituals in there. It's like, think like a hymn/cookbook.
Well, you had mentioned something about a way for you to turn yourself undead.
Oh, hang on a second.
Yeah, you had said something about turning things undead.
Maybe I did. Give me a second here. Oh yeah! A conciliatory approach to dealing with the undead and for the transformation of oneself into undead. Never mind, forget what I said. Whoops.
And I realize that you do not want me to practice these rituals But I assure you, my memory is not photographic, and giving glances at these related to the plague itself and not under the concept of wanting to perform one of these rituals, I would not be able to memorize them this quickly. It would require...
Faust, the answer
What?
is no.
And you would rather allow this disease to plague the city longer because of that. If not myself, I would at least like to suggest that you take this to the academy at some point.
We will definitely be taking it somewhere, whether that is the academy or perhaps
Shall we say that it is much more complex now that this has been added to the equation? We must handle this delicately and with tact, as it now involves the religious community, not of just Corvosa, but of the world. The answer continues to be no.
I see. If the lives of Corvosans are not on your mind, then I guess I will accept that answer.
Do not use the deaths of this plague against me. You do not know what I think or feel.
That is very likely. It is difficult for me to grasp the emotions of many people.
Such I have gathered.
Am asking for this because I want to find a solution to this. We need to work on this together if we are going to end this plague, rather than fail to trust each other and not face the common enemy.
Faust, I want this plague to end, and from what you are telling me, you want it to end too. What you can do is more than what is in this book. I do not trust you enough to let you look at it, or have it near you. Do you understand?
Okay. Then I am still making the request, though, that you take it somewhere to have someone with a more professional touch look at it.
It will likely have to go to someone with religious knowledge of the cult's movements.
Which, unfortunately, as far as I can tell, there are not that many cults here related, outside of possibly that one that I know of, to gods of death. They are not very common.
Everyone,
unless you have something else to say.
Real quick, everyone, roll me a religious check. A religion check. Everyone involved in this conversation.
Oh, of course he doesn't know.
I know for damn sure there's a temple of Asmodeus.
Actually,
Mary,
you hit the nail on the head. As much as it may sicken you, Araris.
Yeah.
As much as it may sicken you, the people who could probably best grasp this book is the Temple of Asmodeus.
Yep, that's where I was planning on bringing it. Yeah. Sorry, Faust. No go. No, well, I suppose I should handle this in character. It's not that I don't appreciate your help, as
So
even though it was volunteered instead of asked for, I do appreciate your willingness to assist. But this is something I cannot budge on.
Murray,
Yes.
I can look at it and find the things pertinent to diseases and copy them or supervise it. I mean, he has a point. His help would be he would be very helpful in some of these things. But say the more instructional how-tos can definitely be avoided. Would that be okay?
That would be acceptable. The book itself, I think, should stay out of sight. There are there are two churches I wish to consult about it, both my own and that of Abadar, perhaps making use of our contact with the priest, and then there are perhaps the most unsavory of religious officials who might know more about it than I.
Faust?
Just out of character, I'm curious, how much time do you think it would take to copy down different parts of that book? And then, like, I mean, everything related to disease.
Well, no one here is a speed reader, so I'd say a good day to read the book, probably another day to copy down. Well, hang on now. Maybe
Or
half
at
a day
least-
to copy it down, because honestly, I actually, you know what? I couldn't tell you really that second one until you do the first one, because you don't know how much in here is related to disease.
I mean, at the very least, like, dog ear the pages, not necessarily
Sure.
copy them down.
It would take a day to read the book.
And then having to find specific spots to show me. That's a lot of time that I still believe we don't have that much of. I would honestly, at this point, rather you just take it to the Temple of Osmodius.
That's what she's planning on doing. So real quick, out of character, I wanted to say is this still the night before, or is this the morning?
No, this is still the
after our rest.
I'm assuming
Yeah,
this
it's
is
still the night before.
while Rhea and Shala are having their very friendly, fun, uplifting chat.
Okay. Does Moira hear any of this crying?
No, it was very quiet. I mean, like,
Boy.
if you were outside the room, you might have, but yeah, it was more. It wasn't wailing; it was more sobbing.
Gotcha. Okay. I wanted to ask because I didn't know if Aras wanted to have a midnight chat.
Whether she would want to have a midnight chat versus be willing to have a midnight chat are two completely different questions. But she would be willing to have a
kitchen
midnight
table
chat.
regardless, so figure it out.
Not the most exciting thing for her because she's really kind of wanting to look at the book, but
Miri will kind of finish up this conversation by saying, "It is not your ability I distrust, but your morality. I will take it where I believe, unfortunately, people will understand it most."
I'm sorry, I just want to interrupt. My internet kind of slowed, so I didn't get what you were saying.
Muri gave away everyone's secrets.
Oh, awesome.
Really fast. I'm impressed, actually. Blue, that speed talking.
Like everything, right?
Everything.
No.
Everything's out on the table. Sorry.
She covered
No
book
GMs
4.
involved.
I didn't even know she knew book 4. No.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I had told Faust that it was not his ability that she doubts, but his morality, and that she will unfortunately have to take it to where she believes people will understand it most.
That's fine, but what do you mean by understand it most? More specifically, where?
Another place I would prefer you never set foot. Or anyone, for that matter. If I had my way, I would much rather just wipe it off the face of the map.
Well, if that's the case, here's what I'd like to say. We aren't certain that these... I forget, out of character, I forget the god's name. Well, I need to look at it again. What was it?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Ugathora.
Ugathora. We actually aren't certain if Ugathora's cult or herself, or regardless, is behind this. And it could still be a feint for another cult situated here. It may not be safe to take it there. I am saying that...
We have more questions than answers, and we will continue to look for them. What we can do right now is continue what we've been doing to follow any leads that Chrysidia can give us. And hopefully, as we find out more information, the puzzle will come together.
All right. Well, I look forward to whatever this place can decipher.
I do not relish the thought of knowing.
I'm sure you're not interested in it, but answers are what we need.
And scene.
And
okay.
scene. All right. With that, everyone get some sleep, a full night's rest, restore your hit points, etc., etc., etc.
So, I have a question.
And I do too afterwards.
Well, I have a mechanics question. I'm not sure if your question's the same.
No.
Mechanics-wise, it says, like, rest. What activities are allowed?
So you don't necessarily have to sleep, though, given everything you've been through, if you don't sleep, you'd probably suffer a point of exhaustion. But in order to gain your hit points and your spells and stuff back, it has to be, I don't believe it has to be...
It does say a long rest period is a period of extended downtime, at least 8 hours, during which a character sleeps or performs light activities such as reading.
Correct.
For no more than 2 hours. So I can spend like 6 hours sleeping and then 2 hours reading?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That would work.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, that's well enough.
Weary will very gently insist that you sleep.
Well, 6 hours would be enough for her to avoid exhaustion.
Yeah.
Man, if only it worked like that in real life.
I know, right? Well, it does if you take a 20-minute nap at lunch. Not that I would know. Right. So,
Sorry, I just inhaled something
I see. Well,
liquid.
well, ladies and gents, that should about do it for this session. We're coming up on that 3-hour mark. So I suppose over the next 3 weeks, you guys can decide if you want to talk to Eris Yellow Eyes or go visit a perfume shop. Or both, but you still have to figure out which one you want to do first.
Okay.
Actually,
Alrighty.
if you want, because I don't know if this might help you make your decision or whatnot, if you want to talk to Eris Yellow Eyes, that is probably something that could be done this session. You see what I'm saying? Like, if talking to her would help you choose what you want to do, because I'm assuming, well, because talking to her wouldn't immediately lead into something. It would get you more information as to what your options are. Does it make sense? But it's up to you
that's
guys.
the one I was kind of leaning on going for anyways. I'm happy to continue for tonight. I understand
I'm fine to continue.
if y'all are tired.
I'm good.
Good.
Okay. I am good to go on at least that much further.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to jump headlong into one of these because either of these could be easily half a whole session. So, but sure. So then.
Oh, I had a question real quick.
Yes.
Where is Majenko in all this? I feel like we kind of forget about him.
He'd probably. I would say, just for the sake, since he hasn't been interacted with at all, no one can make him a familiar. Amelia would be the only one. She's not here. So here's a question.
He has a place at the dinner table, man.
Right. My thinking would be that he would be at the orphanage. If you guys want to take him, you would say, "Hey, I would like to bring Majenko."
Okay.
Otherwise, he'll be at the
because of the way that Miri is, she tends to bring Zellara with her. She would probably just bring Majenko too if he wanted to go.
Okay. All right.
She's got bees. She's got a dragon. She's got a dead lady in her pocket.
She does have.
We'll make it a party.
Everyone watching and listening, we gave Miri an actual bees cantrip,
which I'm super happy about.
I gave it to her on the session where she had to go underwater and couldn't use them.
Yes, which I was less happy about.
All right. So, one question for you guys. When would you want to go talk to Eris Yellow Eyes? And question number 2, everyone? Just 2 of you? 3 of you? Who's going? And when?
There is something I would like to handle in character. It's kind of related to what I was talking to Arlen about, just kind of like being full disclosure with the group as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And that I think if we do not want to have a midnight chat, Arlen, Miri will pick that up in the morning.
I mean, we can totally have that chat.
I mean, Miri kind of sleeps at the kitchen table anyways, so, like, you know where she is.
Yeah.
But I leave it firmly in your corner if that's something you want to do or not.
I don't know, have we had too much player character drama? Everybody?
You can never have enough player character drama.
Okay, then.
Fine with me.
In my professional opinion.
All right, then. Sure. Let's have another chat. And so Arlen will be down there, like, reading the book.
All right. What time?
Please wash your hands
What
after you
time of
touch
night would this be?
This would probably be like right about before like they're going to bed, because I think where he gets up early and she goes to bed late. So
got it. All right. So we'll say this is after Rhea and Shala go to bed and Faust, quote unquote, goes to bed. Which, by the way,
this would occur generally around the time that Arlen normally sneaks out at night.
Right.
But she's actually not doing it tonight because she's reading.
Got it. Right.
Didn't we say that's something I would have noticed?
Yes, that's why I specifically mentioned it.
Okay.
You were full aware, and she doesn't know.
All right. So, you guys were told to meet Eris Yellow Eyes around the docks of Old Corvosa. Both of you roll me an intelligence check. Miri, do yours as an advantage because you live in Old Corvosa. Arlen, not so much.
Advantage.
Arlen was too upper class.
Why do I have -1? Oh, I accidentally clicked it. Intelligence at advantage. Did I do that right?
Wow.
Whoa.
Nice advantage. Miri, you've heard of Eris Yellow Eyes. You've never heard anything about an alternate life or a were-rat or anything, but you know Eris Yellow Eyes. She is, she's been here ever since you got here. She lives, or at least is seen around the docks. She's elderly, probably in her 50s or 60s. She's called Eris Yellow Eyes because she has mild jaundice, so her eyes are actually yellowish. You've never probably talked to her, but I mean, you've seen her. You, like, when Chrysidia said it, it clicked in your mind. Oh, her? I know her, right?
So would we have met or spoken?
Probably not. I can't imagine a reason why they you two would have talked. Very different lifestyles, you know what I mean? But you would have passed and
Yeah, but we might have seen each other.
sure,
passing.
absolutely. And it would be fair to say, as few of Kadal's are, that she's probably seen you around.
Gotcha.
Question number 2: when you go, are you going in white and gold masks or just as yourselves?
Are we skipping the night and the full disclosure conversation?
I thought you were going to see her at night.
No,
I'm confused.
Yeah, okay. We were gonna have a conversation, Murray and Arlen.
Oh, I must have missed that while I was preparing. Okay, so you aren't going to go
Yeah.
see her right now. You're going to have a private chat between the two of you.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, and in the morning we're going to have kind of a full disclosure conversation
Got it.
between us and the party. And then that evening, so we'll give everybody kind of the day off to craft or do whatever they want or prepare. And then I think Weary might try and go by herself if Arlen doesn't want to tag along.
No, Arlen wants to tag along.
Got it. Okay. So that information still holds. So then, never mind. You two sneak off out of the house to have a chat.
Yeah, I would have had it at the kitchen table, but Faust is sleeping in the living room.
Oh.
You say sleeping.
So what will we tell them, Arlen? Or us?
About?
How much do we want to involve them in this? The plague is one thing, but beyond that?
The
Real quick before that conversation continues, Miri Faust tries to follow you guys when you leave the house.
Oh, okay. Is that something I pick up with passive perception, or do I have to roll for it?
Actually, I should say both of you know. To be fair, someone is following you. I'm sorry, I have to go back a little bit because it's not someone who looks like Faust, but it's easy to tell someone's following you. Well, hang on now. I got to be fair about this. Someone follows you out of the orphanage. Sorry, Rin. I'm trying to be fair here, but
you would pace that though. It's not going to be immediate.
I understand,
I know
but
the
you
sound
failed
of
your
my
stealth
own
check,
door
my
opening
friend.
and closing.
You are acting like you went out the door.
Maybe that's why you failed your stealth check.
I don't understand. I got that, and then
I know, dude. And your dice rolls are so good when it's not trying to follow them around or climb the building.
Oh man.
So that is something that we pick up with passive perception. We don't have to
Yeah,
roll for
exactly.
it.
Passive perception, correct. And by the way, I'm going to start doing that more often. Instead of making you guys check for traps all the time or something, I'm going to be using your passive perception. So if I tell you
Okay.
something that seems like maybe you should have rolled for it, it's your passive perception.
Gotcha. Okay.
Got it.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure.
Right. So someone, to be fair, not looking like Faust, is following you.
Someone follows us out of the orphanage.
Following us out of the orphanage?
Yeah, a ways behind you, certainly.
Would we be walking that far?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think we could take a stroll around the block.
Okay.
But I will
That's
say, and in all fairness to Rin, the streets are dead. Because of the plague and everything, no one is walking around at night.
I mean, we might as well go down to the docks and just look around, too. I mean, not like look with like perception rolls, but like
I see what you're saying. Sure.
at least to see if we can know where we're supposed to be
Sure.
in the morning.
So, so as I said, you guys know you're being followed.
Okay.
And I suppose we'll have to be very quiet.
You know, I think we owe them the details about maybe everything that has transpired after meeting Zellara. But anything before that.
Very well. And you wanted me to lead in this conversation? Yeah, why'd you roll intelligence, Ren?
Why
That
four?
was okay. Under the circumstances that they rounded a corner again and pulled the same trick, I wanted to see. I just rolled that to see if Faust would fall for it or not.
Wait,
That was just something for myself.
Oh,
Don't worry about it.
I see. Okay.
It's a character decision. Roll.
Perfect.
Okay, gotcha. I was just
I'm all
a
for it.
little confused.
I mean, I don't see why they need to know everything.
Very well.
I'm sure you have things that, just like me, you keep a little close to the heart, closely guarded.
Remarkably, I believe I've shared most everything. Did Mori tell them about her son?
No.
Okay. So that's probably something that we should do now.
The most we saw was you dancing with him, I believe, and that's it.
Yeah.
And they know that it was your son because when he went to dance with you, he said, "Mother, may I have this dance?" So.
To anybody who was listening, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah.
Ria wasn't there for that though.
Yeah, you were. That was at the banquet. Oh no, you were not. Where were you?
She was dancing with Satomi.
Oh, that's
Yes.
right. So yes, Ria would not.
She
have heard
was trying to start some stuff.
That is not what was happening.
I'm gonna
If
say
you
Faust
ask
was...
Arlen, that's what happened.
How audible did he say it, mother?
Arlen.
No, they're being very, very quiet, so that's not enough to pick it up.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
he was talking.
It was just a character decision roll, that's all.
No, I understand. But yeah, so
No, I think he was asking, like, would it have been made obvious to the whole party that Mallow is Mori's son?
yeah, he was very formal and normal speaking voice when he said, "Mother, may I have this dance?" So unless people think it was like a cultural thing, you know, yeah, it'd be pretty.
I mean, Kadals do call everybody child, so you know, they could call everybody mother.
That's not actually uncommon.
I mean, in that case, I would leave it up to player discretion. But I would say, given that you are not part of Kadal culture, your first instinct certainly would be, "Oh, it's her son." You know what I mean?
Maybe not for Faust. For a normal person, maybe, but...
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Which is why I leave it up to player interpretation.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting off track.
Yeah, a little bit.
He knows. Done.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, I don't necessarily know what happened to you and everything that led up to where you are, but
Is that a tale you would like to hear? I assure you it is not not an uplifting tale.
it seems like there's a lot of those going around. Knowledge is power, so if you feel free to share.
Perhaps not in the open. There are some things, there are some people I would choose not to share with.
So, at yeah, Arlen would just kind of like turn around and look at the person who's following them and just say, "Go home, Faust."
Sorry. Okay. Just out of curiosity, they notice me as soon as I'm walking out of the of the orphanage, right?
Murray would have. Arlen would have
Okay.
just barely noticed you, but Murray certainly
what
had
I
the
would
high-enough
say-
perception.
In regards to those intelligence rolls that weren't asked, I would say that he'd be smart enough to disguise himself as someone in the orphanage first.
Yeah,
he
but
would
more
disguise
Okay,
himself as
pick
Rhea.
somebody.
Rhea.
Oh, okay. Then I would say go home, Ray.
And he will do his best to impersonate her and not go home.
Yes, perhaps at a different time.
I'm trying to think. Do you want me to like actually try to? I'm trying to think how I should impersonate Rhea.
Roll. Don't you have the actor trait?
I do have actor traits, so I can roll deception at advantage. I was just wanting to know if you actually want me to role play this out.
Yeah.
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 no,
yeah.
I'm just-
Give me your
I
best
will.
Rhea voice.
Let's do it.
Oh
Do it,
no!
scrub.
Yeah, come on. I got a blistering 20 for impersonating
Rhea?
a dude earlier. Come
I
on.
am so sorry. Forgive me.
Absolutely not.
I noticed that you two were leaving. It's rather late. Would it not be safer to discuss this at least within the house? With all the stuff going around in town, I think it would be better if we kept this at least inside, even if it were in a separate room.
Okay.
Our rather personal conversations are.
Real quick.
And
yeah.
that is my deception roll.
Okay, real quick. So normally I like to let players convince each other through player. You know what I mean? But in this regard, this is a special talent of Faust as a feat as an actor. He, in this case, just critically succeeded in convincing you that at least he is Rhea.
This is a personal conversation, and it can take place anywhere. I simply have something to discuss with Arlen. Of, well, as I said, a personal nature.
Very well, but I do recommend at least exercising caution with everything going about. You're certain that it wouldn't be safer to do so here?
This part of the city, at least, is familiar to me, and should we run into trouble, I feel somewhat confident that we would be able to handle it.
All right. I just wanted to make sure you'd be all right. I guess I'll go back to my room.
Thank you for your concern, child.
Rhea action. Rhea will smile lightly at them and walk back into the house.
He apparently makes a damn convincing Rhea.
You see, I wish that was on the stealth roll.
I know, right? And for his next trick, Murray's bees.
Well,
Suddenly, he dissolves into 2,000 bees in a trench coat.
All right. Faust, having gone back to the orphanage for the time being, you two, as far as you can tell, are alone.
There was something I said earlier that I really wanted to discuss with Arlen, and I do not remember what it was.
Oh.
Because we have the full disclosure conversation we're gonna have in the morning. There's Arlen's past and new identity.
Yeah. her whole reaction to Shala's story, sneaking out.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, that she will bring up, but she does want to cover something that will affect the party first.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess we will have that conversation in the morning, since Aris has evidently decided that that's something that Mary should do.
I'm confused. Wait, what?
What are you confused about?
What is it that I'm convinced you should do? Tell people?
Oh, yeah, have the conversation where I'm, like, giving them the information about what's happened so far.
Only after Zelora.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I got that part.
Okay. Because you were going to talk about your son.
So that part where everyone cautiously approaches the hut and finds the table and the deck, you do not talk about that. Yeah, no,
we're going to have to give him a little bit of backstory. We didn't just waltz in there.
No. You don't talk about that. All right. So we'll cut to everyone, and we'll still say Murray and Arlen, you had time to... I'm sorry, I'm going to have to get used to your new name. Aras.
Yeah, I know.
Aras. You had enough time to get your full rest. Real quick, as the sun rises, cut to a magnificent mansion, and Cressidia Croft running down the stairs, buckling armor. Shit. Running down the stairs as what was expected to be a little nap turned into a full night's sleep.
Yay! Mary got her way.
And then back to the orphanage as people begin to rise.
During that conversation, she did actually want to talk to Arlen about where she's going at night. But if that's something that you would want to handle later, that's fine.
Oh, I thought you guys said that you were done. We're going to go to the morning.
No, that's... Okay.
If we want to just do that, we can. I mean, we've kind of had a lot of personal time.
Arlen would say exactly where she's going at night. She's going out to, what is it, the Citadel? To see if Thousand Bones and Satomi have left yet.
What are you doing? Peeking in the window? Being a weirdo about it?
Well, they would have in the past worked out a signaling thing, a habit per se, that Satomi would do, that they would do previously when they were living with the Shoanti.
I don't know if this would change things, but remember, Thousand Bones told you that he and and that Satomi were leaving after the banquet.
Yes.
Yeah.
But did they actually...
They left after the banquet.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not in Corvosa anymore.
Okay. So, but I mean, that's still, like, did she actually see them leave?
No, she would not have. So.
Okay, so that's what she's been doing. Is
wandering almost the full length of the city at night to see if your girlfriend's left town.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to stop you from doing that, I guess. As long as you're not, I don't know, sneaking out to go sniff her underwear or something.
No.
Jesus
Nothing creepy,
Christ.
I promise. Nothing creepy.
Okay.
She's also just getting ideas for stuff, building stuff.
Okay.
All right. Creepy. But yeah.
Okay. I think we're done. Squee, we can get to the morning. That's all I wanted to ask.
Oh, sure. Okay, so we skip to the morning. Everyone's waking up. Murray's making breakfast. Shala is, as usual, the last to come down, taking time to completely make up herself. And every morning she comes down looking splendid.
Does she look okay?
Yeah,
Does
she looks normal. She looks fine, as far
Okay.
as you can tell. By the way, also, Faust is not there. The blankets are, I don't know, Faust, are the blankets like folded neatly or just left there?
They're folded neatly.
Okay, they're
He's not
folded
that
neatly
rude.
on the floor.
You get a grudging point in your favor, but that point is negated by the fact that you left them on the floor and not on the table.
I mean, if there's
There's
something for me
two
to leave
tables to
them
pick
on-
from, dude.
Yeah, if
Well, okay. I didn't get to choose.
that's
He just
true.
said on
I
the
did say
floor.
that for him. No. If you felt that your character would have left him like on a table or something, then yeah, he would have definitely.
He would have left them somewhere. He didn't have rude intentions while leaving. Just left. He would have put them on a table or something. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, a grudging point in your favor.
All right, so we'll say everyone sits down to breakfast. Faust is not there at the moment. Ball is in your court.
Moira will kind of clear her throat and look up at the party. I believe I have something to discuss with all of you.
What is it?
I need to make you fully aware of the position that you are in. It would be unfair not to. Rhea, your case is somewhat different as you were essentially assigned to us. But the rest, and Faust too, if he decides to appear, all of you, regardless of whether you are here by choice or obligation, have the option of leaving. This is not necessarily a safe place to be. The trip to the boat was not unusual. It is not terribly often, but not terribly uncommon that we go out, and sometimes on requests from Chrysidia, or sometimes to follow up rumors or solve things for ourselves, but we go out and we occasionally fight people. We have lost friends this way.
Are you referring to this Gadrian you mentioned earlier?
Gadrian is perhaps the root of it all. I will tell you that story if you agree to listen to the end without judgment.
I would never judge you.
Then you have a kind heart, child.
Shala looks down at her plate.
This story begins when we first came here. Gadrian is the thread that tied us together when we got here, and to each of us, in a different way, he did something terrible. He took something from us that could never be replaced, took a piece of us. And one day, we got a note from someone who was very similar and in the same situation. We met her. We, both Ross and myself, and one you have not met and one you will never meet. We met her, and you may meet her too if you like.
And right when you say that, we'll say, just to save repetition, all that, we'll say this is when Faust makes it back. Faust.
Hello, I've returned. It was a good night. I did something.
Why don't you sit down? This
Sure.
concerns you too.
This
Breakfast
does
smells
concern
great.
me, and it's a rather serious conversation. I had asked that you... Well, I had let you know that the position you are in, if you continue to stay with us, is not one of absolute safety. The reason for this is something I am explaining now, and I ask that you listen without judgment. You are, of course, free to leave at any time. I will not stop you.
Sure, you have my full attention.
She'll kind of go over what she said about Gadrian and then continue where she picked up. Her name was Zelera. Is, I suppose. And from her words, we gathered strength. We were not alone in the fact that he had hurt us so. We took her words and went to the docks. There I found children, and we found, well, we found what remained of Zelera's true body. I will spare you the details, but from there we continued in our hunt, our search. We continued working with the guard, who began to notice our deeds. We began, perhaps, to fly too close to the sun, and when we were investigating an outbreak of undead in the Grey, we met him, and he killed our friend and killed Arlen. Otto's soul was at rest, and we were able to let him be at peace, but Arlen we were able to recover. Please understand, this carries into whatever we do.
This also isn't the first time he's shown up. He is somebody that's very dangerous, will stop at nothing to get what he wants. Perhaps at this point in time he doesn't want anything from us, but
eventually he may.
He might be back. So
we lay our cards on the table. And outside of the business with Gadrian, our, perhaps we should call them actions, carry us to places in the city that are touched by evil and malcontent, and we do our best to resolve these things. Sometimes we are able to salvage what we find, and sometimes we are not. If you stay here, if you continue to go with us where we go, then you may be in danger as well. I could never ask another to kill for me, or to die for a cause I stand for. But please understand that these are measures that I will go to protect this house, the people in it, my children, my city.
Rhea, I suppose everyone would notice when Murray says, I would never ask someone to kill for me. Shala shifts slightly. She slightly shifts uncomfortably.
So does Rhea.
With that, Faust would probably. This whole time, he's not been messing around. He's been looking much more serious, understanding that this is not something he should make like light jokes about. Like he has both his hands clasped together firmly on the table, his chin resting on it while while thinking about it, and he'll say, "Yes, I guess I'm being forced to choose between a passion of mine and someone close to me. But in the position I'm placed with everything going on, either way, I am likely to lose someone very close to me regardless. At least for now, I think working with you would be a lot more beneficial for us both. I can't pretend to know any of the horrors that man had done onto you, and I can't pretend to know him very well. However, as well as I'd like to say we've worked together, I'm sure if we were to encounter him, we would be able to at least put up a good fight."
And that is where I reiterate, this with Gadrian is not your battle.
That is true. It is not my battle.
In the general sense of things, I would welcome your help and support, but in Gadrian, I would ask that you think very carefully. You are welcome to take all the time you need to think, to ask me questions. You may leave at any time. And of course, as always, my door is always open to you.
I see.
With
everything going on. Sorry.
No, you go first.
I believe that should he impede our progress in stopping this plague, it would be in all of our benefit to stop him. If that is to occur, you will have my full support. I cannot promise much more related to him, I suppose, without more thought.
I understand, and I cannot predict the future or tell when our paths will cross again, but something in my gut tells me it will.
Should it come in our time working with this disease, you will certainly have my sword.
I appreciate it.
Shala smiles a little and she says, "So, you go around town, helping others, righting wrongs and fighting a nemesis. You are like heroes in a bard's tale, or like Blackjack. What bard worth their salt would not want to be a part of that story?"
Charlotte, my dear,
wants to live.
But I am not asking you as a bard. I am asking you as a person.
Shala shakes her head and she goes, "There are many, many things in this world that I am not good at. But there is one thing that I am passionate about. Asking me as a person is asking me as a bard. I live for music, for stories. I would want nothing more than to experience this one with you." Give me a second, everybody. I have to do something real quick. Everyone, roll me an insight check.
What do we do now?
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a 9 either way.
That's
I
fine.
rolled it on.
Same.
8,
Yeah.
13.
16!
All right. Ours. I don't know. Something about our words isn't the most convincing. Her face is very honest looking. And she'll say, I am grateful you're worried for me, but truly I would wish to continue, if you let me, to travel with you and do what I can to help you. I know that I am nervous and shy, but I tell you truly, I am not scared.
I appreciate your bravery, my dear. And I appreciate your good heart.
If not be scared, then perhaps at least be very cautious.
Oh, I can do that. Yes, I have no desire to die. I think few do.
You think I do?
No. Oh, no, that's not what I meant at all. I'm so sorry. I was just saying
What,
that I will, of
my
course...
dear Charlotte, it's all right. What she meant was, she comes for those of us who are not looking for her. It is a danger. Every time we go up against someone, be it by sword, by fang, by fire, we run that risk. Heroics, if that is what you wish to call them. Well, meeting her is the price we pay.
Shala nods.
And Rhea, what of you, my child?
I see.
If you do not
No
wish
reason
to
to
answer me
leave.
now, you may always take your time.
Everything you've told me, it's all the more reason to stay. That's why I'm here. If he is doing what you say, it's why I'm here, to stop this. And if he is part of it, then I will help you to stop him.
I thank you. There is another matter. This I ask. No, this I request. Stays private, whether or not you decide now or later that you do not wish to be part of this anymore. And Weary will kind of reach beneath her poncho and produce a white gold mask and lay it on the table.
With that, first thing, let me stress, Rhea. Well, I was gonna say you might not know what that means, but you were part of that conversation. Faust, everyone in town has been talking about the people in the white and gold masks that saved Triana, so you would probably at least understand the symbolism, if you know what I mean. But when you put it on the table, Shala slaps the table. I knew it. A Kadal wearing a mask and a female dwarf. I knew it. Your personality. You are heroes. Wait, you've met Blackjack. What's he like?
woefully unprepared for what awaited him. But luckily we were able to assist.
And she sits there, and for the first time when she wasn't playing music, her eyes are like twinkling.
Ria will kind of lean over towards Shala, say, "Who is Blackjack?"
Blackjack. He's famous. He's a vigilante of Corvosa. He's been alive for hundreds of years. So many people theorize it's not just one person, but maybe perhaps a mantle that's passed down to people over the ages. But he, or I suppose she, perhaps, always shows up and helps people in need, fighting off evil and looking fabulous when he does it. And oh my gosh, he is a bard's dream. I've never seen him myself, but the stories say that those in the golden masks fought with him.
Yes, they did, and for good reason. Are you aware of the circumstances behind it?
Yes, you saved Triana, the one accused
Do you
of...
know who Triana was to us?
Shala hesitates. I suppose I don't. I only know that she was accused of murdering the king.
She was a painter. She is a painter, I suppose, where her travels have taken her. She was the sister of one who fought with us and the daughter of one who lived with me. She lived with us for a time. She was a bright and golden soul. She painted a portrait for the king for which she was paid handsomely, and that money she put towards restoring this place to what it was after it burned down. She was every bit as family to me as Mallow is.
I'm sorry to keep asking questions, but it seems I'm the only one who doesn't know. Who is Mallow?
Mallow is my son. He is the head of the Queen's Guard, and something in me tells me he is not himself, not there by choice. I need to get him out of there. I need to bring him home. There is nothing I would not do for my children.
Faust will voice up a bit after hearing what Mary said and ask, "You don't think it would be by magic that he's doing it, do you? As in, someone else is controlling his will?"
I do not know. I know only that he commands the Grey Maidens, and when I saw him up next to the Queen, something is wrong. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was the way he was standing. Maybe it was the way his armor fit, but something is wrong, and I have to free him.
I thought all the Grey Maidens were female.
He is the captain of their guard, and perhaps the only exception. I have limited contact with him, and only through magical means.
Shala stands up, and she says, "You, all of you, when I met you, I could tell that you were bright souls. And in the little time I've spent with you, I've seen you risk your lives for problems that were not yours, for people you did not know. And now I find that you are the ones that wore the golden mask that valiantly fought against an entire city to protect one you loved. Fought with blackjack. I cannot turn away. Not now. I would follow you to the ends of the ends of the world, to perhaps be able to tell your story one day.
And I would fight and die for your right to do so.
Just out of curiosity, I'm not trying to metagame or anything, but is, like, Anna listening in on this?
Ooh. I don't. Arez right now doesn't trust Anna because she knows somebody inside the orphanage was supplying Arconis with information, and she's the only person left.
Well, though, to be fair, to think about it, really, because she had no idea Satomi was in your lab. No one ever told her that. She wouldn't know.
We talked about it in the orphanage. That's the only place we talked about it.
I mean, considering she's kind of the only caretaker right now, I would say she's probably wherever the kids are.
That's
and
true.
I'm just saying, like,
Well,
I would be wary of.
I was gonna say too. I mean, she wasn't really added to the conversation, so
Yeah,
she's
this was
probably-
kind of a party only kind of
Mhm.
thing.
So
Yeah.
she definitely wouldn't be there.
I was just asking that because I was curious. That's
Sure.
all.
So, are we off to see a lady at a perfume shop?
I was more thinking that we should visit the docks first. At least I know Yellow Eyes or have seen her in passing.
It is also closer. Might be more time efficient.
Wait, who's Yellow Eyes?
We were asked by Chrysidia to find a woman by the name of... What's her first name?
Eris.
Eris Yellow Eyes. She has evidently been requesting the help of the Golden Masks, and... well, we are not one to refuse. She is evidently quite desperate in her search, and from what the guard has been able to gather, it has something to do with the plague.
So, with the conversation with Chrysidia, she's asking for those that wear the masks. I'm assuming to be there in costume. Will just
Yes.
you and Aras be going, or will we need costumes as well?
We have the spare masks, don't we?
You still do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there are 2 of the 4, and I suppose we might be able to fill those spots.
Sorry. Problem swallowing.
You're fine.
I can't believe Murray just said that.
How dare you offer those masks to other people?
I had plans for them. Shala would shake her head and she would say, "Oh, you two take them. I couldn't. I think it's wonderful, absolutely, but, well, I'm not particularly partial to white and gold."
At that, Faust will cock his head slightly, kind of like a bird, and say, I wasn't really wanting to wear it myself. And will use his mask to disguise himself as if he's wearing the white and gold mask.
Oh.
He doesn't like taking off his attire out of character. He's not gonna do it. He's just gonna disguise himself as wearing it.
Sure.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just gonna ask, doesn't the white and gold mask allow us to disguise?
Sure. He adds advantage to deception checks when it comes to identity, but he can just not get the bonus.
Okay.
And he'll look just like you. You see Shala having like this inner struggle of like wanting to wear a mask so much, but yet she's really a black and purple kind of girl.
Well,
she'll eventually like take the mask.
They're complementary.
Yeah.
She'll eventually
I was gonna say, it allows you to like make you can add colors to it. You can. Anyways.
She'll say, are you sure?
These are items that were given to Murray and I as a group. And if you are willing to accompany us and take on this burden, wouldn't you also be part of the group? And therefore, your right to wear?
With that, Shala puts the mask on and is just beaming a smile.
What about Rhea?
Yeah, Rhea will. With it, she has no problem.
Okay.
Also, I am curious. I want clarification on something from you, Squee.
Sure.
I'm gonna throw it your way in Discord.
Okay.
Actually, I'll just post it in the chat. It really doesn't matter.
All right. I will say with that though, guys, I'm gonna have to end the session. But so next time, let's see, actor. Okay, what's the question?
Okay, so I have advantage on deception checks when trying to pass myself off as a different person. I would technically, it's not just talking; it would also be any deception check.
Correct.
To like look as if I am a golden mask person. So would I still get the advantage there?
Yeah, you would. So the idea behind the golden mask really is it just makes it harder for people, magically makes it harder for people to tell they are who they are. I.e., if Muri's wearing it, they can tell it is a female Kadal, but she has advantage on deception to keep them from knowing it is. Like, for example, say she ran into her own son. With the magic of that mask, he would be at a disadvantage to tell it was her. So that's what they do. Your actor feat basically emulates that same ability.
Okay, then that's all I was asking.
Yeah, it's just instead of it being through magical means, it's through training for you. So honestly, yeah, even without the mask, you like that's a fair point. The mask, I mean, it wouldn't stack with actor, so the mask really wouldn't add any benefit to you.
And he doesn't want to stop wearing his own mask.
I
understand.
So
this is fine.
So, all right. So there are now 5 white and gold mask wearers. All right,
Cool.
we'll end that session here. Next time, you guys
Actually,
can go explore a perfume shop or go talk to Eris Yellow Eyes. I almost said Jaundice Eyes.
I'm not going to say that he actually puts it on, but if I remember right, I believe there were 5 white and gold masked individuals who went to go save
There
Triana.
were because of Flack.
That's what I was going to mention. So technically I could have, but he's not wearing it anyway.
Right. Actually,
He's
I would
too
think, unless everyone for some reason stopped him, I would think Flack took it with him.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, it was a shiny. It was a magical shiny.
I'm sure he took that shield with him too.
Shush, we don't talk about the shield. All right, guys. Everyone, thanks for watching. And again, it'll be 3 weeks from now, which will be our next one. So the 24th of July. We will continue, and we will see you guys then. Also, be sure to catch tomorrow. We have 3 galaxies. That's right, 2 in 1 week. We have 3 galaxies tomorrow. 4th of July should be fun. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.